Boy, howdy, does it look like it's about to get a little weird up in Death Valley. What a 3-day period for the Clemson Tigers, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't mean that in a good way. Welcome in the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, and good day to everybody who's not a Clemson Tiger fan. It might not be a good day to be a Clemson Tiger fan. We're about to talk about that here in just a minute. I am Rob Brown, directly across from me. On the other side of the glass, the man without whom this machine would fall apart. He is the alpha and the omega of ESPN Upstate. He is Lonzo, in charge of the button switches, levers, knobs, pulleys, gears, and other applicable simple machinery that makes this station go. What up, Zoe?
The machine is creaking. That's all I'm saying. It's creaking. Some days you got to earn your money.
Some days you just got to be the dude. You just got to be the dude. Zoe's being the dude today. We're going to be slammed up busy today. In fact, I am going to skimp on the simple pleasantries today because we have got to dive right in. Let's just jump straight into the lunch breakdown.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
It is the lunch breakdown of 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworkers, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. This will be the scuttlebutt. These will be the things you need to know to talk sports with your amigos today. And when I say 3, I mean about 2011. All right? It's busy today. We start with item number 1 on the lunch breakdown. Man, we may have to get Rashad Beard on the horn a little early this week because it's about to get weird up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Come on and raise up. About a half month prior to the events of this weekend, we already knew that Carolina's offensive identity was in question. Today, we learned that they took a step towards attempting to heal said identity as Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, has been relieved of those duties. Matt Rule attempting to send a message to his team and the fan base. He said back in week 6 after losing to the Vikings that, quote, we're going to redefine who we are and we're going to run the football and we're going to protect our quarterback and we're not going to turn the ball over anymore. All of those things were wrong. None of those things happened. They would end up losing to the Giants the week after that. They would lose to Philly as well. They, of course, dropped a big gut punch to the Miami Dolphins and then lost one to Ron Rivera's Washington football team as well. Things have been poor. Things have been poor with one exception in the middle of that. A laundry list of question marks and lapses in performance for the Carolina Panthers lead to the departure of Joe Brady. In 23 months' time, so far, you have seen Matt Rule hired for the rebuild, the team release and sign back Cam Newton, signed and shipped away Teddy Bridgewater, brought in Sam Darnold, and picked up the 5th-year option on his contract. They have switched general managers. They have extended McCaffrey's contract, which has been an absolute nightmare. All of that under Matt Rule. Things not going well for the Panthers right now. Now, the Panthers did come out and give Lonzo Matt Rule the old dreaded vote of confidence. You know what it says when your GM comes out and gives a head coach a vote of confidence in the middle of a season? It means the old
time for updating the resume.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
Yeah. It means the old hourglass has been flipped upside down on the head coach.
Oh, is that what that was? I thought you were like pouring a drink on this.
No, I was trying to figure. I forgot the word for hourglass while I was doing the motion. The hourglass has been flipped. And we're going to see what happens. We'll break that down further later on in the show. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. Lonzo, I'm going to add one more thing onto the plate of hot garbage you've been given so far. I'm getting multiple texts from people saying your audio is jacked up and, quote, why does Rob sound like a robot from the future, end quote. If you ask Lonzo, it's because I might be one.
Yeah, he's not a robot from the future. He's a robot from the present. And as far as that goes, clarification, radio signal is terrible. Okay, we've lost audio. We've lost the signal on our sister station 106.3 WRD. So chances are maybe that whatever's wrong with that is also wrong with this.
So basically what happened is Lonzo spent enough time disparaging AI last week that they have come back for their revenge is what it comes down to. We're working on it is the answer. Engineers are scrambling as we speak. You know how you scramble jets? They're scrambling. They actually are en route. Maybe they are. Texture says it sounds better now. Just trying to help. No, we know. We're not mad. We're not upset about this at all. We need to know. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. Our college football bowl games are set. We now know the destination for Clemson. They will be headed down to Orlando, Florida, where they will take on Iowa State. The Tigers face the Hawkeyes in the Cheez-It Bowl. It was announced yesterday, the game to be played December 29th at 5:45 at Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida.
What bowl is it again?
The Cheez-It Bowl.
Okay. All right.
Clemson woke up feeling the cheesiest, coach.
Yes, they did.
First ever matchup.
Wait. I got one more question. That has nothing to do with the national championship, does it?
No, it does not.
Okay. All right. I need clarification.
First ever matchup between the Hawkeyes and the Tigers, who were ranked 19th in the final CFP rankings released yesterday after finishing the regular season 9-3. Clemson finished tied for second in the ACC's Atlantic Division, did not play in the ACC championship frame games for the first time since 2014, which was also the last time the Tigers were not part of the college football playoff. That season, Clemson routed Oklahoma in the Russell Athletic Bowl, which is the same bowl the Tigers will play in this season, even though that's not what it was called at the time. This bowl was initially created as the Blockbuster Bowl back in 1990. The Cheez-It Bowl has had several different title sponsors, including the Athletic Bowl, the Champ Sports Bowl. Y'all don't care about any of that. All you care about is that December 19th at 5:45, Clemson will take on Iowa State at Camping World Stadium in Orlando, and the Cheez-It Bowl. South Carolina has got their bowl game set up as well. They'll be playing just up the road in Charlotte, North Carolina, in a bit of a border war, as they will be locked up against the Tar Heels of North Carolina. That will be Thursday, December 30th at 11:30 a.m. in the, get this and tell me destiny's not real, Duke's Mayo Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. One of the teams we cover here on the Rob Brown Show, a great friend of Duke's Mayo, will be headed to the Duke's Mayo Bowl. The bowl will be a rematch of the 2019 game between those two schools, where they also played at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, and will be the team's second trip to this bowl since 2018. South Carolina last played there back in 2018 when they lost to Virginia. Shane Beamer, the third straight Gamecock head coach to make a bowl game in his first season and with a win, would be the first since Brad Scott to win a bowl game in his first year. Carolina hasn't been to a bowl game since that 2018 Belk Bowl. Beamer is expected to meet with the media Sunday. Did meet with the Gamecocks media last night. Coming up later in the show, we will be joined, as we are on Monday, by Corey Diaz of the Greenville News to break down the end of the season and look ahead and forward to that bowl game. We'll have more for you about that as we break that bowl game down later on. And the rest of the college football playoff bowl games are set as well. We know our playoff 4. On New Year's Eve, we will have back-to-back games. Number 1 Alabama meets number 4 Cincinnati in the Cotton Bowl in Arlington, Texas at 3:30. And then later on in the evening, the Orange Bowl will take place at 7:30. And this will be the slugfest, number 2 Michigan versus number 3 Georgia in the Orange Bowl down in Miami Gardens. Alabama versus Cincinnati. Winner will move on to the January 10th National Championship. Michigan v. Georgia in the Orange Bowl. Winner will move on as well to Indy. We know our New Year's 6 bowl games.
By the way, real
well.
quick, do you know of any place where I can pick up some Bulldogs gear? I might need some just for that day.
No particular reason.
Yeah, just for that day.
Just for New Year's Eve. December 30th, the Peach Bowl. We'll have the Spartans of Michigan State taking on Pittsburgh. We will see the Fiesta Bowl January 1st when Notre Dame takes on number 9 Oklahoma State, the Irish, number 5 in the final poll. On New Year's Day, the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all, Lonzo's team, Ohio State University at number 6 will take on number 11 Utah, the winners of the Pac-12.
That's a scary game. That absolutely is.
I'm intrigued by that.
That is a scary game.
I am intrigued by that. And number 7, Baylor takes on number 8 Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl at 8:45 on New Year's Day. Some other notable bowl games: 6-6 LSU and Kansas State in the Texas Bowl. Iowa versus Kentucky in the Citrus Bowl on New Year's Day. The Outback Bowl, Penn State and Arkansas. Miami versus Washington State in the Tony the Tiger Bowl. The Tony the Tiger Bowl. It's great.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hear it's great.
We
forgot.
Oh, you got to, figure out for it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Arizona will host the Arizona Bowl. It's just called the Arizona Bowl? Okay.
Wow, that's extremely boring.
The Arizona Bowl, Central Michigan and Boise State. Wake Forest at 10-3 will take on Texas A&M in the Tax Slayer Bowl. Wisconsin and Arizona State in the Las Vegas Bowl. The Music City Bowl in Nashville is Purdue and Tennessee. The Alamo Bowl is Oklahoma versus Oregon. Clemson, Iowa State. We mentioned that in the Cheez-It Bowl. And South Carolina, North Carolina in Charlotte will be played in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Virginia Tech, Maryland will be the Pinstripe Bowl. Virginia SMU is the Fenway Bowl. I think that's, I'll run through the rest of the bowl games later on in the show, but there are all of the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and the day before New Year's Eve bowl games. Now, item number 3 on the lunch breakdown, ladies and gentlemen. What a 38 hours for the Clemson Tigers, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what's happened in the last 36 hours. Number 1, and I think the biggest story of all of this, with the exception of the speculation that's based around number 2. Number 1, Brent Venables, the defensive coordinator for your Clemson Tigers, a man which has had the Clemson defense inside the top 8 for effectively his entire tenure in that position, is now the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners. Brent Venables moving out to Norman to take over the visor in that position. Inside of a few hours after that, we have learned that Duke University has interviewed Tony Elliot, the offensive coordinator, about potentially moving him into the head coaching role of that position. In the same 12 hours, it was announced that Dan Radakovich, the athletic director at Clemson, isn't that anymore. He is now the athletic director at the University of Miami. Less than 36 hours after it was announced that Dan Radakovich has gone to Miami to take the AD job, within 24 hours, Miami has fired Manny Diaz, the head coach. So Radakovich, the athletic director at Clemson, goes to Miami, gets the authority, and immediately fires Manny Diaz out of that spot. Then after all of this has happened, Dabo Swinney is seen on the sideline at a Las Vegas Raiders game, chatting and yucking it up with Mark Davis, the owner, while wearing Raiders gear. Remember, the Las Vegas Raiders do not have a permanent head coach right now. Wow, what a 36 hours for the Clemson Tigers. One of 2 things happens here. One of 2 things. Well, let me phrase that. One of 3 things. Number 1 is Dabo Swinney doesn't go anywhere. He brings in a couple of new coordinators, and he proves to us all that he's the guy that Clemson fans says that he is, and he takes what's happened to this program, and he uses it as a foundation to rebuild it into what Dabo wants it to be. The second option is Dabo sticks around, and we find out that Venables and Elliott made Clemson what it was, and Clemson has just officially hit the brick wall. Or item number 3 In about 4 weeks, we find out that Dabo Swinney is the next head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, electing to jump to the NFL, leave Clemson behind, in which case Clemson potentially joins FSU in having to rebuild itself from the foundation up. The point of all of this is something dramatic is about to happen an hour and 30 minutes to the other down the road from us, Alonzo.
You know, if I were a Clemson fan, I would have had a rough weekend. Everything, you know, just this time a year ago, everything was beautiful, except for that beatdown from Ohio State. But everything was beautiful. That hadn't happened yet at this point. Everything was going along. You were in what you thought the middle of a dynasty, and now it may all be crumbling down. I mean, that's a lot of things to happen in one weekend, a lot. And I have been on record saying Dabo's not going to the NFL, but him being at the Raiders, not only on the sideline, there are pictures of him up in the box with Mark Davis too. I don't know. I don't know.
Do me a favor. I have a bit of good news for Clemson. Can you grab the breaking news sounder for me? Because we do have a bit of breaking news presented by our friends at BetQL. Get smarter, beat the books with our friends at BetQL. Of course, Joe Giglio joins us every Tuesday at 1:30 here on the Rob Brown Show to look at lines and futures. You can find their work at BetQL.com and listen to the BetQL podcast on the Odyssey Podcasting Network. Here is a bit of good news. Lonzo, Oregon head coach Mario Cristobal is no longer Oregon head coach Mario Cristobal. He is now Miami head coach Mario Cristobal, being reported just literally while we're having this conversation by David Cobb of CBS Sports. Mario Cristobal has just finished meeting with his Oregon Ducks team to tell them that he will be leaving to coach his alma mater, the University of Miami, and taking the Miami job. Cristobal replaces Manny Diaz, who was fired earlier this morning after 3 seasons with the Canes. Cristobal, who won 2 national championships as a Miami player between 89 and 92, was 35-13 in 4 seasons leading Oregon. Diaz was 21-15, but won 5 of his last 6 games this season. Cristobal's hiring comes at a tumultuous point in time for both the coach himself and the Hurricanes. Miami had been negotiating with Cristobal. It became extremely public for an extended period of time over the weekend because Diaz was still employed by Oregon. Miami, of course, also hired, as we mentioned a minute ago, Dan Radakovich, the athletic director at Clemson. Do you know where Radakovich went to school? The University of Miami. So he's going back to his alma mater as well. So Radakovich leaves Clemson, goes to Miami, immediately fires Manny Diaz when he gets there. And the good news is this takes a little bit of the pressure off of Clemson, because there were thoughts that there was the potential that by firing Manny Diaz, Radakovich might very well look back towards Clemson as a replacement. Maybe Tony Elliot might be in the mix. Maybe he brings Dabo down. Who knows? But what we do know now is that Miami has hired Oregon coach Mario Cristobal to become the new Hurricanes head coach. He will try to bring them back out of obscurity. But with that being said, that takes a little pressure off the table. But we know that Brent Venables is now the new head coach at Oklahoma. We know that Duke has interviewed Tony Elliot for the head coaching position. And by the way, Dabo Swinney did a whole interview where he was asked, is college football in a good place right now? And not only did he say no, but he elaborated on that, saying that college football is in a really bad place right now and he doesn't like it and he wants to change it and he's got some issues, et cetera, et cetera. Dan Radakovich goes to Miami, fires Manny Diaz, but that little bit is off the table unless you believe that Dan Radakovich should have been credited for some part in helping build the Clemson dynasty, in which case your decision maker is now making decisions for Miami. And after all of that going down, Dabo was seen yesterday in Las Vegas at a Raiders game on the sideline, dapping it up with Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, while wearing Raiders gear top to bottom. Is there something going on right up the road in Clemson, South Carolina?
Man, I hope Dabo goes to the Raiders, because I will enjoy the Chiefs beating him twice a year.
Let's take a break. Clemson fans, what are your thoughts? I got a text just a minute ago that said, quote, y'all sound giddy about Clemson's fall from the top and now losing Venables. It isn't going to be a lot of fun talking Clemson if they drop back into mediocrity. For the record, I'm not giddy about anything. All right. What have I told you many, many times? At the end of the day, if Clemson's good, Rob makes more money. Okay. If South Carolina's going to make more money, if the Panthers are going to make more money, the Hurricanes, Carolina, not Miami, the Carolina Hurricanes are better, I make more money. If the Greenville Drive are better, I make more money. If the Swamp Rabbits, if the Triumph are better, I make more money. I want them to be good. However, this isn't giddy. This is, I don't think that a lot of Clemson fans really understand the impact of what's happening right now. This is big.
Yeah, I don't recall these kind of things happening to any program all at once ever. So this is I don't want to say historical, but I don't recall it ever happening. So as far as giddiness goes, I will admit to being just slightly giddy over certain parts of the fan base who I know are going out of their minds right now. And I enjoy the chaos.
Yes. Yes, that is absolutely correct. Chaos is fun in college football. But let me say this.
Hey, maybe Dabo's going to Oregon.
I am not giddy about any of this for Clemson. I am very interested as a college football fan because one of the powerhouses in college football over the past 5 years, 6 years, is going through what might be, it's going to be one of two things. Either Dabo's going to prove to us that he is the wizard that you have all told us that he is, A, or B, we are about to watch a collapse in real time. And that's not good for me for my wallet, ladies and gentlemen. It's bad for me and my paycheck.
I hear fear coming from the fan base. That's what it is. If you trust in Dabo, then you'll trust he'll do the right thing. He'll be there. He'll just reload with coaches the way he's done with players, and you guys will remain where you are, even though you've had an off year and the dynasty will continue. If you have that kind of confidence in your team, then fine. But maybe there's a little bit of doubt in there because that's what it sounds like. So maybe you never had the kind of confidence that you portrayed in public. Maybe that was all false. Maybe it was a lie. Maybe you really didn't believe in your team.
All right. I just got a text that came in a second ago that I'll read for you when we come back here in just a minute. He says the show is nothing but Clemson hate. There is some because Lonzo's here, but the show is not that. And I'm going to explain that when I come back here in just a minute. My name is Rob Brown. Lonzo's at the helm. You're listening to the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. All right, we're back. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. All right, so our sound's back and better. Jay, welcome in, big fella. It's good to see you, buddy. I know you're a huge sports balls fan, so good to have you. Eric says it's a fun coaching carousel this offseason and that Dabo is gone. I could see it. I could see Dabo leaving, right? Like, if there was a reason for him to get out, this offseason is the reason for him to get off, right? Like, this is the reason for him to get out.
Also, if he were to go now, most people would completely understand.
Mm-hmm.
Just put yourself in that situation. You probably would take off too.
If Elliot goes, effectively the foundation of what has made them a powerhouse is gone. The whole foundation's gone.
The ones who keep going when the going gets tough. The ones who know we're tougher than ever. Offer supplies and solutions for or 7 customers. You know you have people depending on you, so you can always depend on us. Call ClickRanger.com.
How about Panther ex-coach, ex-offensive coordinator to Clemson? That's not a bad theory there, Steven. That's not a bad theory.
I was actually on Vince's show. He wanted to talk Panthers, and I said Joe Brady being fired right now is the best thing for him, because with all these openings and the success he had in college, that I think that just automatically.
I wouldn't be shocked if Brian Kelly gets it back to Louisiana too. He liked LSU. He liked Louisiana, so I could see him going back there and trying to rebuild what he did with the 2019 LSU team. But yeah, I mean, if Tony, like, if I'm Dabo, I'm calling Tony Elliot right now and going, dude, are you taking the job at Duke if they offer it? Like, are you taking a job? Because if so, I'm on the phone with Joe Brady immediately.
This is important news. If you have unfiled tax returns, the IRS is shifting gears and ramping up investigations on non-filers this year. If you fail to file your tax returns for a year or more, or you owe back taxes, now's the time to call Optima Tax Relief before the IRS finds you. Optima is America's #1 most trusted tax resolution firm, specializing in helping individuals, families, and businesses get right with the IRS. They're experts in the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, a powerful new program that can make resolving tax issues easier. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, Optima's award-winning team has helped thousands of people protect their paychecks, bank accounts, homes, and businesses by putting their tax problems to rest, resolving over $1 billion in tax debts for their clients. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-706-7944. 800-706-7944. 800-706-7944.
Optima Tax Relief. Down on Twitter.
Texture says, dude, your show has nothing but Clemson hate. Beat Carolina like a drum. Get coverage in the 3rd hour. Have coaches leaving. You guys are so excited, SMH.
All right. See, these are the kind of people that I was talking about. Okay, beat Carolina like a drum. So you want full 3 hours.
So you have to understand, that, first off, I recognize that, and this is why we do cover both teams. We have fans of both teams. Like the majority of our audience is a fan of one or the other. I would argue they're probably more Clemson fans.
You don't need to argue. I mean, well, let me say this. There's more Clemson coverage everywhere else. There's more Clemson coverage. Unfortunately, right here, you get more Gamecock coverage than you do on any show on this station or probably in the upstate of South Carolina.
So I would also argue there's a reason for that, yeah? I would also argue that there's a reason for that. And I would argue the reason for it is Clemson has not entered a state of turmoil in 6 years, right? 6 years, Clemson has been a machine. And we know what to expect, and we know what's going to happen. We know how it's going to happen, and it's been great. South Carolina is right now a bit of a quagmire, and has been for a while. They were in a quagmire before they fired Muschamp. They were elbow deep in the quagmire after they fired Will Muschamp. Whether you like what Shane Beamer's doing or not, it is not unfair to say that there still is a quagmire in Columbia, South Carolina. From the standpoint of this, sports talk, a microphone, etc., what moves the needle is not X's and O's. And the majority of Clemson talk for the past 6 years has been pretty much limited to X's and O's. Because Clemson doesn't say a lot. They don't offer a lot. When you do get quotes from the people in charge at Clemson, more often than not, it's, oh, we're family and we're this and we're going to do that. And that's all great. This is not a hit. You guys built something at Clemson that the vast majority of schools wish they could recreate. But if you are outside of Clemson, there's not a lot to go off of in terms of the human aspect of building a football program at a school, right? It's been, I'm going to be, again, not a hit, but it's kind of boring from a sports talk perspective because the limit of X's and O's, up until DJ Uiagalelei started struggling earlier this year, what was the biggest criticism of Clemson last year? Pre-Ohio State loss, what was the biggest criticism of Clemson last year?
All I can think of is people were tired of Dabo, good old boy.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. The only criticism of Clemson is the fact that they don't give us more to talk about. That's it. Which is fine.
Here's what Clemson fans are used to. How about them Tigers? That's what you're used to.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what you're getting everywhere else.
Texture says, no, you guys did not discuss the Palmetto Bowl until the third hour after the game. No. We talked about the Palmetto Bowl. We just, and by the way, the 2 hours of talking about South Carolina, Lonzo, would you say, I don't know, any of it was positive? Or did I come here and say that South Carolina's effort sucked? The execution sucked. The coaching was bad. I wasn't like praising South Carolina. Well, I was dogging them for 2 hours.
I believe, and we could go back and check, but I believe you're being baited by this texter who, if you listen to all 3 hours, thank you. But I guarantee you that the lunch break talked about the South Carolina game because that was a big story, and which would mean that it was talked about before the third hour, which would mean you're wrong.
We talked about it in the lunch breakdown. I did. You're right. I spent a solid ton of time dogging Carolina. What you are asking me for here, fan, with and I'm not saying this out of disrespect. I'm just
they're asking you to be
me. You're going, why didn't you talk about how great Clemson was for 2 hours? What do you want me to say? I got no breakdown. You did everything right. Clemson did everything. The coaching from Dabo and Tony and Brent was great. The execution from the only criticism I would have is DJ looked like a very average quarterback throwing for 99 yards or whatever it was, 90 yards, whatever. That's the only criticism I got. The run game was great. The defense swarmed. They were taking everything away South Carolina wanted to do. They eliminated the run game of South Carolina, which is what the Gamecocks used to beat Auburn and Florida, right? You are asking me to sit here and Clemson for what they did in the Palmetto Bowl. Here's my philosophy on life, and I told this to the big boss when I got hired here, right? We started talking about communication and you know, how would you prefer management communicate with you to make sure that we're getting the most out of you? And I told him, hey, look, here's the deal. If I don't hear from you, I'll assume things are going the direction you want them to go in, right? If you don't have to come down and talk to me, I'll assume I'm doing my job. If you come down to talk to me, something needs to change. And you may just be saying, we're going to do this new, and maybe what you've been doing sucks. But if you come talk to me, I'll assume something's wrong. If I don't hear from you, I'm going to assume everything's going fine. That's the approach I have with Clemson. If you want me, let me go ahead and shots fire this. If you just want 3 hours of Clemson's great, they were fantastic in the Palmetto Bowl, everything's awesome, there's another radio station for you right up the road that's all they do. That's all they do, is tell you how great Clemson is all the time. If that's what you're looking for, go ahead. I'm not supposed to run off listeners, but if that's the radio you want, we ain't the station for you, fella. We're just not. I ain't talking about Clemson because you guys kicked Carolina's ass up and down the football field. You want me to tell you how great of a job you did? There's a station for that. I talk Carolina because Carolina is in a mud pit right now. And it's going really bad. It's going really bad for them. At least it did last week or 2 weekends ago against you guys. So if you want me to come hug you and tell you how great and special your team was, you won, yay. The reason I'm talking about you is because of what I said that day. Clemson did everything right. Everything. From the coin toss to dinner on the way home, everything went great. You want 20 minutes about how fantastic that game was for you? So what's more compelling? What's more compelling? Me to break down how you guys throttled Carolina and the things that went wrong for Carolina, for me to sit here and tell you how great and fantastic you are. Because that's what it was going to be. Now, you're excited about all of this going on at Clemson. I'm not excited about it. But things are going bad in Clemson right now. Your defensive coordinator, who has been, I think, the most important cog in the wheel, with the exception of Dabo, is gone. Your athletic director, who helped Dabo put this whole thing together, is gone. Your offensive coordinator, who up until this year, I think most of you gave a passing grade to, is in an interview to be a head coach elsewhere right now. That is 3 of the 4 pillars of your football program gone or with a foot out the door. And while all of that's happening, your head coach is at an NFL game wearing NFL gear, dapping it up and laughing it up with the owner of that head football coach. Lonzo, you told me during the break, what'd you say about Dabo leaving this year? If there's a time for Dabo to get out where nobody would blame him for doing it, right now, when the other 3 pillars of his foundation at Clemson are gone or 1 foot out the door, if there's a time for Dabo to leave where everybody would go, oh, I totally understand that, it's literally now. And while it's now, he's yucking it up with the owner of an NFL team out in Las Vegas instead of back in Clemson getting ready for a bowl game. And that's fine. I'm not judging him for that.
But it's not a good look. And he knows that his assistant coaches are interviewing for this stuff. And he knew all this stuff was going on. So he is a visual kind of guy. And he had to know what this would look like by him being there. And he's probably there for a reason. My question is, will the Clemson fans turn on him if he leaves? Will suddenly he be this bad guy? Will they say all this stuff about him, even though he led you somewhere you had never been multiple times?
I just figured it out. I just figured out this texter. He just tipped his cap. He just tipped his cards to me. He said, ESPN, of course you don't get it. How about covering good and bad, but starting your show without recognizing the Palmetto Bowl breakdown was just tacky. What I forgot, liberals know bad news sales continue with trashing Clemson. Bravo. You just gave me your whole thing.
No.
Hang on, let me finish this. So with all due respect, and then I want to hear what you have to say, but I got to go with this. Here's what it is. You don't like me, but you know I'm right, and so you have nothing else to do but go, Rob's a liberal. He's dumb because he's a liberal. That's all you got. You are wrong. You know I'm right, and you have nothing to say about it except go, you're a liberal who thinks bad news sells. I started the show with the segment literally called the Palmetto State Football Breakdown, and you just said you didn't do a Palmetto Bowl breakdown. That was the first segment of the show on Monday. It's called the Palmetto State Football Breakdown. What did you think I was doing, dog? You got nothing, man. You're wrong. You know I'm right. You got nothing. Please, Lonzo, the floor is yours.
You were successful in finally pushing the button you were going for. Way to go, Texter. But you made him go Chip Kelly. He went Chip Kelly in the middle of that. That just threw off anything I could have said.
I'm a talk show host. I'm 40.
Yeah, but you went Chip Kelly accent in there. I heard it. Everyone heard it. Everyone absolutely heard it. Calm down, Clemson people. You're just back to where you were before. It's okay.
You got nothing. You know I'm right, and you got nothing. So it's liberals are dumb and Rob's a liberal. What does that have to do? First off, even if that was correct, which is not, but even if it was, the hell does that have to do with anything?
Well, I got to say that you're wrong, that liberals are dumb. And you know what? So are anybody else in politics. So,
Get me to a break. We got to go to a break. Bring it. You know what? Bring it. Whatever you got, get it off your chest. It's Monday. Let's just get all the negative out now. Just every complaint you've ever had about
guys are making.
Goes on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate.
You are not going to have a voice left.
Oh, man. That same text just said, Rob, I'm sorry. I just had a Snickers. I love you, man. Zoe, give him a hug, please.
Yeah, I'm not going over there. It's too loud over there.
Texter says ESPN liberals are dumb. Fact. I feel we have opened Pandora's box.
No, you have, because you didn't have to read that. You're asking.
I wasn't not going to read that.
Well, you could read it. You didn't have to read it out loud.
The American Cancer Society, we are on a mission to free the world from cancer. It's a big mission, driven by little things like a ride to treatment, a free place to stay, a 24/7 helpline. But these little things are really.
So Lisa's going to come and meet me out to eat around 4, and then I'll come back and finish up.
All right, so I'm 45 or 35. Does that work? Okay.
Ish.
5-ish. It's just fine. I just as long as I'm out by, you know what? I could probably do till 6.
You don't have to do till 6.
I know. I wish I could do 6 to 7, but I can do till 6. Dude, it's that thing you have to go do.
It's all right.
This feature sponsored by Pfizer. Festivals, football, the great outdoors. Some people say fall is the best time of the year.
There are a lot of things that are in play here, including the fact that I really don't need to be doing that, but I have to. So there's always a possibility with the situation that this would come about because of, even though I have no real power, and I'm not real. I have the power of availability and responsibility.
The best ability is availability.
That's what they say.
Well, I can go till 6. So take your time getting back.
See, for that matter, Tim Holcomb could be here at 6, but I'm not going to do that.
Dude, why wouldn't you?
Because you said earlier you couldn't. You
I
had to
can
be
do
out
till
by
6. I don't
5:30.
have any. I have to be where I need to be at 6:30. But then I looked it up, and it's 20 minutes from here. So I can do till 6. Bring Tim in at 7 or at 6. I'll take it till 6. Give him at 7 or give him 6 to 7. Then you go do your anniversary.
But see, then I'm worried if Tim doesn't show up by 6. I don't want you to end up being
All right,
late.
tell him to be here at 5:30.
He can't
Unless
be
he's
here.
watching him.
He can't be here at 5:30 because he's at his other job. That's the thing is he would have did it, but he's at his other job.
Well, then why don't you tell him to be here at 6? And if it's going to be a problem, then text you, and then you'll know.
All right, I'll give it.
Dude, I'll take it till 6. Send Tim in at 6, and tell him if he's going to be late. Text you.
Well, there's also the chance that Owen might actually come in to train over there. And if he is, he doesn't need to worry about the last hour.
Right.
Because every hour's run the same. He could come over here and run the last hour. Because he was training over there to run Charlie tomorrow.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
The only thing that would be is Mark runs a recorded interview in the last hour.
Right.
But I'll have that pulled and saved.
Yeah.
So the Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Very short segment here because is this our? No, we got one more break, right, Zoe?
Yeah, we got one
production.
more. The Texans got to you.
Texas says, I'd argue that Venables is the reason Dabo is where he is. I don't think Dabo is a good coach. I think Dabo has a good eye for talent, put the right coaches around him. So there's the old argument of there's game day coaches and there's CEOs, and both can be successful at the college football level, right? Like there's game days coaches and there's CEOs. Game day, I would argue that Mario Cristobal is a game day coach, right? He's a great tactician on the field. I made the argument in the past that I took an equal team. If I took Nick Saban and a lot of other coaches and I gave them 2 equal teams with no time to prep, Nick Saban loses 8 of those 10 matches because he's not a great game day coach. Where Nick Saban kills you is he's a great CEO. He puts the right guys in the right places around him, and he has those guys prepped to execute excellently in like March of the season before, right? So by the time they hit the ground, they're way ahead of the curve. That's why Nick Saban's so good because he had the right guys in the right places and knows how to beat Kirby Smart before the game even started. Nick Saban didn't just beat Kirby Smart with X's and O's. He had him beat 3 hours before kickoff, and you could see that Kirby and the Dogs weren't ready for it. Is Dabo a CEO or is Dabo a game day coach? I argue he's a CEO, and a damn good one, by the way. He's like Nick Saban. He's a damn good one. He put the right guys. He put Tony Elliot in the right place to coach all the QBs that have come. He put Brent Venables in the right place, who, by the way, he hired out of Oklahoma to come here and do it. Right? He saw the talent in that guy and asked him to carry the defense, and dadgum he did. Now, if he's that good at it, hopefully he's got his eye towards the next guy. Now, the question is, will he bring somebody up from within the program like he has in the past, or does he pull it out of the Brent Venables and go get him out of another spot and go, that's the guy, and he's coming to Clemson? This is where Dabo is going to prove his merit. This is where Dabo is going to prove that he's a great CEO and a great office builder to get Clemson back where they were. Or
he goes to the Raiders.
He goes to the Raiders. Exactly right. Exactly right. Texas says, I think he is a CEO, but he is blank without Venables. And that word is not FCC friendly. But you get where that Texter's going with. Texas says, Clemson fan since 1985. Dabo should go. He will be exposed. If not, please go to the Raiders and bring Deshaun. I didn't think about that. Does Dabo go get Deshaun Watson to come play with him at
well,
Vegas?
you would like to believe that all things would be resolved by then, but maybe not.
Texter says, is the text line working? Oh, I mean, there's smoke coming off of it because of the amount of texts that are coming in. So yes, that other texter that was mad at me said, Rob, sorry, just had a Snickers. Love you, man. Zoe, give him a hug, please. Lonzo won't hug me. He says I'm being too loud today.
Almost as loud as your shirt.
It's magenta. Let's take a break. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show to wrap up hour 1. Rob Lonzo, it's ESPN Upstate.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we established that magenta is also known as purple. This is not purple. This is magenta.
Magenta?
It is a shade of purple, but it is not purple.
I thought magenta is more pink.
That's why it's not purple. Because
Yeah.
it's right. I would actually argue it is more pink than purple. I absolutely would. It's also very gloomy, and we haven't turned the lights on, so you're not getting an accurate representation of the color of the shirt.
You can blame me for that. It's already hot in here. Turn the lights on. We're French fries. I don't like being a French fry.
Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics now. 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772. Do you need a new roof or think you do? I'd like to talk to you. My name is Paul Campbell, and I've been fixing and replacing roofs in the upstate for over 15 years. If you have questions about the condition of your roof or possible storm damage, call me and I will personally come out and check your roof and give you an honest assessment and a fair price. Call me today at 864-346-3121. That's 864-346-3121. Or find me at rooferpaul.com. That's rooferpaul.com.
WWE is coming home to Greenville with Monday Night Raw, January 3rd at Bon Secours Wellness Arena. You'll see WWE Champion Big E as he joins Raw Tag Team Champions Randy Orton and Rick to face Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, and Omos.
So Figgy just said that he does not know if or when Daredevil is going to show up in the MCU, but that if and when he does, Charlie Cox will be hired to be Daredevil. No, don't take it off. Don't take it off. Don't take it off. Leave it on there. It's a good way to bring it up. And somebody asked him point blank, is Vincent D'Onofrio going to be Kingpin in Hawkeye? And he was like, you'll see. Because D'Onofrio was the best Kingpin outside of an animated series that I've seen.
I gotta admit, I never watched Daredevil season 3.
Dude.
We just got too busy, and I never got around to
Go back and
watching
watch it. It is one of the more satisfying finishes to any of the storylines. It's good.
Repairs to your engine, transmission, air conditioning, suspension, and so much more. Dial 800-279-2827 and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Dial 800-279-2827 on your mobile phone right now and get free roadside assistance, free towing, free car rental, and free oil changes. Dial 800-279-2827 and never pay for car repairs again. Dial 800-279-2827.
Facebook stream's hot right now. Go to facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. Text line is smoking right now, too. Text said, Clemson fans are literally blanking bricks right now, listening to you saying Dabo is leaving. I wish I could read the text line. It's not FCC friendly. I'll just say that, okay? If I read most of these texts, I'm going to jail, I think. Another texter says, that texter that got you fired up is a shining example of how obnoxious Clemson fans are. Another texter says, I think Dabo is a CEO, but he is screwed without Venables, and he didn't say screwed. Another texter says, I'd argue that Venables is the reason Dabo is where he is. I don't think Dabo was a good coach. I think Dabo has a good eye for talent and put the right coaches around him. We've got multiple texts that have all said the same thing. Marvin Jordan just put on the Facebook stream. I was just telling my friends on Discord about all this. The question is, if they all leave, who will start getting their recruits now and become a powerhouse? And I would argue if Clemson did not have Watson and Trevor, those players went to someone like Georgia, they would not have any championships. Two players to me were the difference in them and some other teams. I agree. I've said for years, I agree. FSU doesn't win the 2013 championship without Jameis, right? Auburn doesn't win their title without Cam Newton. One player can absolutely make your team, but part of having a good coach and good coordinators is being able to pick those players out and get them to your school, right? Venables has been good at that. Elliott's helped with that. Dabo's been good at that. Can he redo it, though? We'll keep talking about this on the next segment, the Rob Brown Show. Rob Alonzo, it's ESPN Upstate.
Tim's going to come in at 6.
Okay, perfect. So I'll take it till 6, and then Tim's got you.
He said he had a workout schedule. I'm like, dude, it's my anniversary. You'd be all right after. So he's.
Tell him he can do push-ups in here while I do the last hour.
Well, he'll have time, actually. You get his workout hitting the basketball court over there. Thank you for helping out. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I already know about when I can. Sorry, I can't take it all the way to 7.
That's the thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard the Rob Brown Show?
Lance Archer joining us here on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. That TNT championship. If you watch other companies around, we hear about belts that are mid-card belts or secondary belts. But one of the things that I've appreciated, Lance, is the amount of credibility and importance that you guys have put on the TNT championship. Why does winning the TNT championship matter so much to you?
You know, it isn't a secondary title by any means.
I need to pull this interview. We might want to. I wonder if we had to have something else from Lance Archer that we can use since he's not been TNT championship or TNT champion for a while.
And I think that's what makes it important in its own realm.
You know, he never was a TNT champion, but
Oh, that's right. He didn't win it.
but he talks about the importance of the belt.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we can go with it.
That's why I think it's general, but I can pull it.
No. You got a point.
Leo Santa, presented by Rob Inario, Attorney at Law, 864, call Rob.
With special thanks to State SC Heroes Program and Malone Heating and Air by in Upstate. Warning.
And check this out.
For an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represent being weird.
Joe B says Venables leaving, quote, for sure is the nail in the coffin for Clemson as an elite program, especially when there's rumors of 3 to 5 elite defensive players, including Brian Breesy, following Venables to Oklahoma. And I got to tell you, what was interesting is that the Venables to Oklahoma rumor picked up a lot of steam like last Wednesday, Thursday. And then on, as a matter of fact, yesterday. So yesterday afternoon, I'm catching some Swamp Rabbits hockey. I'm following the NFL games. You know, I'm keeping my eye on everything in the world of sports. And an alert pops up on Twitter that says Oklahoma's athletic director was just spotted at the airport, the GSP airport, right up the road from us. And I thought, that's it. He's going, right? Like, that's the nail in the coffin. He would not have flown here. And then Venables was spotted yesterday evening at the airport in Norman, Oklahoma. So that I think yesterday, the AD being here, was to finish up the formalities, right? Like, all right, we're good. Sign this. We're good. Let's go to Norman. That's what it looked like. But what's interesting about it is that at the same time that those rumors were picking up steam, that Brent Venables will be going, from the same sources were coming reports that a couple of players had expressed that they would follow him to Oklahoma. And you got to think, a lot of the guys on the defensive side of the football, where Clemson made their money this year, right? And they ran the ball well against South Carolina. They ran the ball well against Wake Forest. But the defense was probably the bright spot for the Clemson Tigers this year. What if you have 2 or 3 of the top tier defensive players move on and follow him to Oklahoma? What if you have a couple of offensive players? One of the rumors. And I know some Clemson fans are fine with this, where that DJ would go.
Well, Pumachan, or however you want to say his name,
transfer
already
portal.
gone. Yeah, there's already been a couple players in the last week that were already jumping into the portal. So this could be and this is not being giddy, this is speculating, this could be a mass exodus. And I hate the portal. So I think it's horrible, but it looks like there's a good possibility. And think about it. If someone recruits you and they bring you in and you love working with them and they go somewhere else and you can go with them, you're probably going to do that. And it just goes to show, so there's loyalty to the coach and not loyalty to the school. And I think that really will bother some people.
Sure.
And I get that.
Texas says you alluded to this at the start of the show, but what exactly did Dabo say was the reason for his disappointment in the state of college football? Is it the players getting paid? He walked back those comments he made years ago about that, but I think deep down he hates it still. And then his busted quarterback signs with Dr. Pepper and then sucks all year, end quote. According to a young lady named Grace Rayner, who covers Clemson for The Athletic, she said, Dabo Swinney is asked if college football is in a good place right now, especially with the money going around. He said, quote, no. College football's not in a good place for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of change going on, and I think some unintended consequences with that. End of the day, we'll figure it out as we move forward for sure. There's a lot of things in college football right now that I think we'll look back in 4 or 5 years from now, and hopefully things will settle down a little bit, end quote. He didn't really go crazy on the details. And I get that he walked back the college players getting paid thing, but I am relatively convinced that the reason that he walked those comments back wasn't because he's cool with it all of the sudden. I think the reason he walked it back is he realized because there are big name recruits that are going to go to other schools and start making 5-6 figures by just being them. And if he's looking him in the face and going, no, sir, not at Clemson, that is a deciding factor that might put a kid off of the Tigers, right? If I'm getting recruited by Dabo at Clemson and Kirby Smart at Georgia, 2 programs that are I wouldn't say in similar places, although Georgia did lose, but 2 top-tier college football programs, right? And one coach is going, I'm going to help you get as much NIL money as you can. And another coach is publicly going, yeah, no, I'm not cool with that at all. I don't like it. I'm not going to help you. I'm going to Georgia, right? If those are my 2 factors, you might hate NIL. Well, put yourself in that kid's cleats. If one coach says, I'm going to set up a system to help you get as much NIL money and cover your butt so that there is no blowback for screwing that up, and another coach is going, I'm against it and I won't help, I might love that guy. But I got 6 figures worth of reasons to go play at Georgia, potentially, right? I think that's probably why he walked it back. Because a lot of these comments that he's made, college football is not in a good place for a lot of reasons, et cetera, are remarkably similar to the things that he said when he started talking about his dislike of the potential for NIL before it got kicked in. Another texter says maybe it's the transfer portal. And I agree. Maybe he was talking about the transfer portal. Strong possibility. Clemson has still not picked up a kid in the transfer portal, though I got to tell you, I think they have I think I read yesterday, they're sitting on over 24 available scholarships for next year. He might not have a choice.
I was going to say, that's also a reason why you would think that there's a possibility he's leaving. That's a lot of scholarships available.
Is a lot. This is, I hate to tell you, for Clemson, you're going into a rebuild, right? 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we were sitting here saying, hey, if Clemson hits on a quarterback next year, they're right back in the playoff, right? And that still might be true. 4 or 5 weeks ago, we were saying Clemson hits on another quarterback that fills in the role of Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence. They're right back in the playoffs. They're right back to the top. But you have bled players out in the transfer portal. Your defensive coordinator is gone. Your offensive coordinator has a foot out the door. Your athletic director is gone. Your head coach, while all of this is happening, is yucking it up with an NFL owner at a Raiders game. I got news. Clemson's going into a rebuild, Jack. You are about to hit here's the thing. It's been 6 years since Clemson was bad. A lot of y'all have already, and this is college football, right? Dynasties don't happen often. in fact, I saw a guy on Reddit earlier. He said a lot of fans have forgotten the early Dabo days and the Bowden days. And I think that's spot on. Things have been so good in Death Valley that you forgot that very rarely is there a Nick Saban. Very rarely is there a Nick Saban. Very rarely is there a team that is able to stretch success over the length of time that Nick Saban has at Alabama, right? Ryan Day has been good at Ohio State. Jim Tressel was too. But it was a long time before Ohio State got there. Michigan's been getting blasted by that same Ohio State team for a decade. Now they're back in it. And maybe they don't slow down. I don't know. Success breeds success, sure. Success brings you guys that bring success, like Tony Elliot, like Brent Venables. But success also gets preyed on by others, like Oklahoma, like maybe Duke with Tony Elliot.
You know, this is going to be weird. Oklahoma is actually going to play defense.
Yeah.
When's the last time that happened?
In the Big 12. Woo, look at that. That'll be a change of pace.
Speaking of change of pace, will Venables usher in an era of defense played in that conference?
Here's hoping. Honestly, if there's been a handful of Big 12 teams the last few years that if they had any semblance of a defense might have been national champions, right? But with Venables and with everybody else going to Oklahoma, with Tony Elliott going, maybe, and this is a question mark. He's not gone, right? He's not gone. But I would also say this. If you had to lose one of the two coordinators, Elliott or Venables this year, you wanted it to be Tony Elliott.
Yeah, you absolutely wanted it to be Tony Elliott. Actually, some fans were saying that he was the problem and not DJ.
For the record, I like Tony Elliott. I met him twice. The first time I met him at the Clemson Media Day earlier this year that Mark Ryan and I went to, he came up without even meeting me and cracked on my white glasses. Love the guy from that minute. I'm like, dude, it takes charisma to walk to a dude's face and make fun of his glasses and have him go, hey, you're all right. I like Tony Elliott. But the fact that it took till week 10 for him to figure out the offensive identity, not a great look. That's why Duke's calling him for an interview and not USC and not Oregon and not LSU, right? If you were going to lose one of the two, you wanted it to be Elliott. But there are four positions that the success of a college football program rests on. Head coach, athletic director, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Those are the four positions that a college football franchise rests on. You got to have a solid one in all four of those spots to be good, right? You have lost your defensive coordinator. Your offensive coordinator was already shaky this year, and he's interviewing for a head coaching job. You've lost your athletic director. And while these three other pillars are crumbling around him, Dabo's on the sideline at an NFL game wearing NFL gear, hanging out with the owner of the team and yucking it up for the whole game. Now, I'm not mad about that. Again, I think Zoe earlier said that's not a good look. It honestly doesn't bother me all that much, right? It's a Sunday afternoon. The team's not practicing. It's not like Dabo can't fly to Las Vegas and back in the same day and enjoy a game. I got no issue with it. There are probably a handful of head coaches in similar spots that were on NFL sidelines yesterday.
Except for the fact that Dabo understands how visible he is. The camera always finds him. So he had to know, with all the chaos going on, that him going there would make people speculate.
Right. Oh, 100% it was going to make people. And again, I never tell people, hey, don't do a thing you want to do because how it's going to look, right? I don't care what other people think. If you want to play D&D with your nerd friends, go play it. Who cares if other people make fun of you for it, right? But this is not last year coming off of a playoff loss. This is not 2 years ago coming off a national championship or 3 years ago. This is the same day your defensive coordinator moves to Oklahoma, less than 24 hours after your athletic director moves to Miami, less than 2 hours after it goes public that your offensive coordinator interviewed for a head job elsewhere. Everything else around Clemson right now is shaky. And you're yucking it up with Mark Davis on the sideline of Las Vegas. And not just an NFL team. It would be a different story, though, if he was in New Orleans, where they have an ingrained head coach, or New England, where they have an ingrained head coach. You met with the one NFL franchise that doesn't have a head coach. You see what I'm saying? It's a different story if he was down in New Orleans on Sunday watching a Saints game, or in New England watching a Patriots game, or in Tampa Bay watching Tom Brady play. Completely different story. But you were on the other side of the country at an NFL franchise that is known for big money shock value hires, who does not have a head coach, wearing their gear on their sideline, minutes after your defensive coordinator went to Oklahoma, minutes after you found out your offensive coordinator is interviewing for head coaching jobs outside the program, and hours after your athletic director moved to another school. Ordinarily, I don't care about optics, though, but this is not good.
There's an easy way to explain it away, though, because there are a ton of Clemson players on the Raiders roster. But at the same time, if you're courting a new coach, you bring that coach in and go, hey, you know this guy. Hey, you know this guy. Hey, you know this guy. And I could do that several more times because
there's a lot of Clemson players.
There are a lot. They're all, I believe the majority of them were on the championship teams.
And if you are if you're the Las Vegas Raiders right now, right? Like Derek Carr has been really good. But if you're in charge of the LV Raiders, you're the Raiders. You don't mind a little controversy. Who is going to be better to try to get Deshaun Watson to waive his no trade clause for the Raiders than Dabo Swinney, right? I can come up with justifiable reasons both ways why it's not a big deal, or it very much is a big deal that Dabo Swinney's on the sideline at the Raiders, right? Maybe Mike called Dabo and go, hey, man, I know you still chill with Deshaun. I know you and Wattman are still close. Why don't you give him a buzz, see if maybe he'd be willing to trade that, waive that no trade clause? Because right now, straight up, Derek Carr for Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson's name's good, you taking that?
Yeah, I'm going with Deshaun.
Yeah, you are.
Although, I mean, he hasn't played in a year. Maybe his skills have diminished.
I mean,
probably not, but I mean, there's a possibility. I think any coach is taking that chance if they can get him without the controversy. But again, that stuff hasn't been resolved yet. And the fact that it hasn't been, it's just weird it's taken so long.
The point that I'm making here is I can come up with reasons or excuses, whatever, why Dabo was on the sideline. He was just hanging out. But again, AD gone. Offensive coordinator, foot out the door. Defensive coordinator, gone. You're the last one left in the core four of this program, and you hung out on the sidelines of the one team that does not have a head coach and is willing to make spectacular hires like they did with Chuck Gruden. Texture says, was Dabo not at the Raiders game for the Spiller Hall of Fame at halftime? Again, I can give you reasons why Dabo was there, and this is a good one. CJ works with Dabo. CJ was coached by Dabo. Maybe that was the only reason he was there. And by the way, that would, for the record, Texture, you got a great point. If there is a way for Dabo to be able to say, I'm not worried about the optics, I got a damn good reason for being there, it would be to be with CJ while CJ's receiving an honor since he coached CJ to get him to the league. Sure. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to have a lot of eyeballs turn and go, defensive coordinator's gone, offensive coordinator's interviewing, athletic directors in Miami. You got tons of players hitting the transfer portal, and the Raiders don't have a coach. And isn't that Dabo Swinney on the sideline wearing Raiders gear, yucking it up with the owner? Isn't that Dabo? Point is, the people who are speculating that this is a real possibility are not wrong or bad for doing so, because this is a big question mark.
Here's the reason why I'm playing this, because if you're Dabo and you understand all the optics and everything, it's called optics, not whatever word I just said, then you know that you can interview and you have excuses that are built in. And all you got to do is a Spiller thing. Hey, I was there to see my players. I was there to see all that. Nothing go. The fact that they have an opening at the coaching, it's coincidence. That's all.
I mean, honestly, it could have been. Coincidences are real.
And plus, I don't think they can interview him for the job until or could they? Yeah, I guess they could. Have to interview some other people too, but we haven't heard anything about them interviewing anybody. We haven't heard anything about the possibilities for who is going to be the next Raiders coach, have we? Most of us have forgotten that Gruden is gone.
Texter said, Rob, make sure to thank that last texter for doing your homework. Oh, wait, I forgot. You hate Clemson. We're still on this? It's been an hour. We're still on it?
I think that was sarcasm. I think that's what that was.
I don't.
That's how I interpreted it.
I do not communicate fluently in sarcasm.
Right, but I am a master, so you're welcome.
Corey Diaz of the Greenville News joins us next. We are going to stop all of this Clemson talk, which I hate. I hate it. To talk my favorite subject, South Carolina Gamecock football. That's what's happening next. I love the Gamecocks. I'd smooch them right on the lips when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
One of the people who are doing the confirming, could it be Owen? I don't know.
Oh, Corey's number. Hang on one second. And we're back. And we're back. So here's a question that's going on in one of my group threads. Y'all. The possessive form of y'all. Is it still just y'all? Or is it y'all apostrophe S? Y'alls with two apostrophes. What's the possessive
Is
form?
y'all actually a word?
Yeah, y'all's a word. Oh, y'all.
Are you? I mean, it's got to be fairly recent that they've added that as a word.
Let's see if it's actually in the dictionary.
I would have thought it was a contraction, as in
It is you all.
Yeah. You might have to look in the Southern Dictionary.
Yeah, Merriam-Webster has it as a word. Usually used in addressing two or more persons, a variant of you all. And it literally says origin, chiefly Southern.
Yeah, you don't hear y'all a lot up north. But,
Have I told you a story about the time I ran into a group from Chicago and said y'all? I'll tell you after you get off the phone.
Access to experts to help answer your toughest questions. So whatever challenge you face, we have the knowledge and products to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Spectrum Mobile is reinventing wireless again. Get unlimited on 2+ lines for $29.99 a month per line. No contracts, no added taxes or fees. Includes nationwide 5G. Save up to 60% with Spectrum Mobile. Get unlimited on 2+ lines for $29.99 a month. Call 855-438-2999 or visit the store.
Hey, Corey, it's Alonzo at ESPN Upstate. Nothing much. We're just sitting here dealing with a bunch of people accusing Rob of hating Clemson. It's a wonderful day. Yeah, you're right. It's pretty much Monday. All right, we got about a minute. Hang on.
So two things. One, Spider-Man has been added to the Avengers, the game.
Yeah, but that's just the PlayStation.
Is it?
Yeah. Unless they changed it. I thought that was PlayStation exclusive.
Might be. So when I was in high school, I won an award when I was a sports editor for my high school newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to go to a national conference and was getting into an elevator with a group of other kids who were there for it. And because I'm a nice guy, I went in and went, how y'all doing? And this girl looks at me and she goes, "Yous guys say y'all?" And I was like, "Y'all say yous guys?" And this was the whole interaction. And there was our Miss Ivanchek, our newspaper teacher, I guess, or whatever she was, starts cracking up laughing. But yeah, the whole interaction was, "How's y'all's day? Yous guys really say y'all? Y'all really say yous guys?" Like, it was just this culture shock moment between the two of us.
It's kind of awesome, actually. Again, I'm from somewhere where they have no accent, but actually they do.
I would say everywhere has an accent. It's just sometimes the accent is having very little of an
accent. It's hard to recreate.
Yeah.
I was watching Fight Night Saturday night because I'm not watching that team up north, and the announcer they had in there was doing the now for he was. And just every time
out of the red corner.
No, he was doing it. It was so exaggerated. It's like, dude.
I just realized how bad I want a Michael or Bruce Buffer to do their intro in a shock jock voice. And now it's time. Fighting out of the red corner.
I think Bruce could pull it off, but I'm not sure about Michael. I think he's so ingrained.
Let's get ready to rumble. Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think you can say it.
No.
You can't put it. You
no,
can.
Well, technically, we're doing
we're
it.
not on the air.
But we are.
Does that count?
Let's not take a chance. Okay?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not going to be able to get that out of my head now. Fighting out of the red corner.
If you get a chance to go back and watch just a little bit of it, I should find out the announcer's name.
Oh, we need to add that to the skit we were talking about doing.
Yeah.
Did your coach just get hired to do an ESPN talk show? Now, when I was defensive coordinator. To the phone lines we go, as we do every single Monday at this point in time, and welcome in the beat writer who covers the Gamecocks of South Carolina, Mr. Corey Diaz, writes for the Greenville News and joins us on the show. Before we get into football, Corey, I have to ask you a question that came up in a text thread, a group text of mine, and you as a career writer, as a guy who puts pen to paper, or I guess fingers to keyboard for a living now, and also being from the South, may be uniquely qualified to answer this for me. The word y'all, and it is a word, it is in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. The word y'all, Corey, what is the possessive form of the word y'all? Like if something belongs to y'all, is it what does it just stay y'all like that's y'all group, or is it Y apostrophe ALL apostrophe S y'alls? What is the written form of the possessive y'all, Corey Diaz? Help me out on this.
Man, that's probably going to be the toughest question you asked me this segment, Rob. I think obviously we're all Southerners, right? So vernacularly speaking, the possessive form is y'alls, right? I mean, it's Y apostrophe ALS apostrophe S. I mean, look, I mean, if we're putting, if Merriam is now recognizing, fleek and these other terms as official words, I mean, I don't understand why y'alls is not a word if it's not in the dictionary. I'll be honest with you, Rob, I haven't opened a Merriam dictionary in a while.
The squiggly red line has helped us out. The squiggly red line has helped us all out dramatically.
Yeah, but I will say there are some words that Microsoft Word doesn't recognize as being an actual word when in fact it is. There was one the other day, and I wish I could remember it off the top of my head. If we were going to have this discussion, I would have gone back and looked it up. But there was a word the other day that I had used in a story that I know 100% certainty is a word, but Microsoft Word was trying to tell me it does not exist. And I was like, no, you are a lie.
You are a lie. We are talking to Corey Diaz. He covers the Gamecocks of South Carolina athletics for the Greenville News. And let's jump right into it, Corey. The regular season has come to a close on a sour note for the Gamecocks, who get drilled by Clemson. But we find out yesterday that not only are they invited to a bowl game, but they get into a bit of a border war right at the border, as they'll be taking on North Carolina in the Duke's Mayo Bowl right there at Bank of America in Charlotte. What was the reaction from within the program to that being announced, that they're going right up the road? They're going to, it's a good travel time for the folks in Columbia and Gamecock fans around the upstate. It seems like they ought to have probably, I would hope, a 50-50 split, but against the North Carolina team that's got a really good quarterback in Sam Howell, that earlier in the season looked like they might be a bit of a force. Unfortunately, it fell out a little bit. What was the reaction within the program to the announcement of the bowl they're in and the opponent?
Yeah, I think from all angles, Rob, I believe this was everyone from Ray Tanner in the AD spot all the way down to probably your equipment managers, right? That get the guys, equipment and everything on the bus, ready to travel to wherever they're playing. I think everyone's excited about this, man. I think it's a win-win for everyone that's involved with the South Carolina football program. When you think, this is the first time since 2018 that the football program has reached 6 wins, i.e. Actually reaching bowl eligibility. I know last year there was an invitation on the table to play in the Gasparilla Bowl, and that was declined. But last year was just kind of just such an anomaly in and of itself with an SEC only schedule and how late regular season games were being played. Shane told the story last night during his, official bowl game announcement press conference. Yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of Ray Tanner calling him and offering him the job to be South Carolina's head football coach. From what Shane says, it was during the regular season finale with Kentucky last year. So 365 days, man. If you're Shane Beamer, you go from being offered the South Carolina head job, you accept it, to fast forward, and you're learning that your team is 6-6, and you're going to play in the Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte at Bank of America Stadium, home of the Carolina Panthers. I'm thinking 10 out of 10 times Shane takes that path every time.
We're talking to Corey Diaz, beat writer for the Greenville News, covers the Gamecocks of South Carolina as we do at this time every week. That's and on the field, it's kind of an interesting matchup because Mac Brown's Tar Heels, this year, a lot of folks, when I was up at the ACC Media Days in Charlotte, a lot of folks were saying that they genuinely believed that Mac Brown was going to have this team on a path towards not just relevancy, but competition in the ACC. But they dropped a couple of games that we were a little surprised to see them drop. They still have shown potential here and there. This, to me, Corey Diaz, is a really good opportunity for South Carolina to take a step forward. I know it's a bowl game. We're still waiting to see if we're going to have maybe a couple of players, especially seniors, opt out of the bowl game and not play. But really good chance for Shane Beamer to prove that his team is taking a step forward. A lot of us think that Clemson, probably a better team at the end of the season than we thought that they were. So South Carolina a little outclassed. This is a really good opportunity for them to show that they have moved up in tier since last season.
Yeah, 100%, Rob. Since the official announcement yesterday, I was told a couple hours before the official announcement what the bowl matchup was going to be, and once I knew it was going to be North Carolina versus South Carolina in the Dukes Mayo Bowl, just kind of started thinking about some things in my head, and just one of the first thoughts that popped in my mind was South Carolina going up to Charlotte, beating Mac Brown, and this particular North Carolina Tar Heel football team could very well be the exclamation point on the narrative of this South Carolina football program is heading in a direction in which everyone would need to buckle their seatbelts and get ready for the ride, right? Look, people forget this because this was, such a long time ago, but this North Carolina football team was a preseason top 10 team. They were ranked, I believe, 9th or 10th in the preseason poll. The talent is there. Okay. This is probably a top 20, top 25 roster in the sport of college football right now. Now, again, to your point, Rob, you mentioned there could be some North Carolina kids that opt out of this bowl game. There could be some South Carolina kids that opt out of this bowl game for one reason or another. Some could hit the portal, some could get ready for the NFL draft. But there's talent on this North Carolina football team. It's not just, Sam Howell at quarterback. I mean, the Tennessee transfer running back, Ty Chandler, I think is probably one of the top running backs in the ACC. There are a couple of guys on the defensive side of the ball. Defensive tackle Miles Murphy is a guy that, just from watching some clips and stuff since yesterday, that has really popped in my mind. Timon Fox at the linebacker spot, he's kind of an edge rusher, outside guy. He's been able to wreak a lot of havoc in the backfield for opposing offenses. And so, what you prioritize in practice getting ready for this game for South Carolina, it hasn't really been. It's not going to be a far deviation from what they've worked on week in, week out when you get ready to play an SEC schedule, right? I mean, the offensive line is going to have to play much better. Obviously, from what we saw the last time out, it's going to have to be light years better than that because this North Carolina defense can get after the quarterback a little bit. And of course, we don't know whether it's going to be Zeb Nolan or Jason Brown playing at quarterback for South Carolina. I think Shane alluded to it last night. It seems like this bowl practice is a lot of positions are going to have to be open competitions again, and maybe that'll be good for some of these guys who've kind of maybe felt a little complacent, a little comfortable in their roles on this team. And so you hope maybe that extra little heated competition right here at the end of the year can spark some elevated play at some positions in which you need to have that.
We're talking with Corey Diaz, Greenville News beat reporter covering Gamecocks athletics here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Real quick, Corey, let's flip for just a second. We got another 2 or 3 minutes over to the Lady Gamecocks. The last time we talked about them was obviously that Battle for Atlantis game that they knocked off number 2 UConn. And for the most part, with the exception of like a 16 turnover first half, they got it together in the second half and ended up wiping the floor with what is supposed to be the second best team in the country. Since then, they beat Elon 79-38. They beat NC A&T 79-42. They knocked off a decent Kansas State team 65-44. They got Maryland, number 8 in the country this weekend. Don Staley has got the ladies on a run right now, and I can't even really ask what's going wrong because with the exception of a couple more turnovers and like here we there, this is one of the better women's basketball teams I've seen maybe ever, Corey Diaz. And I'm not trying to blow smoke because we're talking Gamecocks. I love to take down a team when I can, but my goodness, is this team on a roll right now?
Yeah, man. Look, we knew it coming in. I mean, there's McDonald's All-Americans from the very top of this roster to the very. I mean, there are McDonald's All-Americans warming the bench right now in the Colonial Life Arena. I mean, it's almost unfair what Don's able to roll out there each and every game. And look, hey, there's been some big women's basketball news that's come out in the last couple of days. Paige Buchers at UConn is dealing with some form of a leg injury right now. To what extent that is, I haven't necessarily heard, but they're at the end of their game the other night. She exited the game with some kind of injury. And so, you're looking at these sort of things, and you mentioned it, Rob, you got number 8 Maryland coming in to CLA on Sunday. The next game is at now number 19 Duke, who is undefeated on the year at this point. And then your next home game on the 21st, number 4 is going to be another top 5 matchup. Number 4 Stanford is coming to the Colonial Life Arena. I mean, at this point, it's almost, you play 13 non-conference games. Dawn has scheduled 10 ranked non-conference games. I mean, she's not afraid, and I don't think her team is afraid. And to your point on the court, I mean, when you look at Leah Boston and what she's done the last 3 or 4 games out, I mean, the other night she was perfect, 13 of 13 from the floor. She's really, I think she's getting back to that, preseason All-American preseason Player of the Year form that we were told that she was going to be like coming into the year. There has been some injury concerns. Zia Cook was hurt preseason, but she's back and has been playing well. Destiny Henderson has been day-to-day and limited at the point guard position. So there has been some injury bug on this team that's hit, but to Dawn and her staff and the players' credit, they have not allowed that to affect them whatsoever on the court. They've just been ho-hum, go out there. We just take care of our business. We're the number 1 team in the country, and we have to play like it. And they've set that bar, and they've played to it up until this point. And I know the next 3 games are 3 ranked opponents, but I don't see a loss in these next 3 games. I think they roll over Maryland. I think they roll at Duke, and I think they probably roll over Stanford as well on the 21st. And so you get ready to enter into SEC play here at the end of the month, and you're number 1, you're unanimous number 1, and you're undefeated on the year, and it's going to be up to someone in the SEC to break that streak. And I'm just not sure if any team in the SEC right now is equipped to beat this team.
Corey Diaz covers the Gamecocks athletic department for the Greenville News and joins us every week on Mondays to talk South Carolina. Corey, my man, appreciate you, big dog. We will talk to you next week. We'll look a little further at him, do some X's and O's of the Dukes Mayo Bowl, which, by the way, Corey, let me warn you, don't get caught in public up here in the upstate using anything but Dukes, or there will be pitchforks and torches involved. Just an FYI.
Oh, well, good. I didn't know that. Well, let me ask you this. What if I don't like mayo? Am I okay?
No mayo is better than any mayo that's not Duke's. I'll just give you that.
Hey, Corey, I got your back. Mayo's mayo, man. I'm right there with you. Unity.
Yes. Thank you, Lonzo. That was all the backing I needed right there.
Love it. Love it. That is Corey Diaz, covers the Gamecocks for the Greenville News. See you next week, big fella.
Appreciate you guys. Y'all take care. See you soon.
You got it. That's Corey Diaz of the Greenville News. We're back after this. Texter says, mayo is not just mayo, you commie. So Rob got called a DA liberal and Lonzo got called a commie today. Do we have any more hot takes coming on the text line?
Be careful, comrade. We know who you are.
We have ways of making you spread. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's mayonnaise. It's a spread. You stop.
Really?
The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate.
I am almost got all the breaks set up for Mark's show.
Texter says Rob Brown has a patchy beard. I love our text line. It's insane. Certified.
Cristobal is leaving Eugene to become the new head coach at Miami, his alma mater. The Hurricanes fired coach Manny Diaz today after 3 seasons. The Bills swept the Patriots last year on their way to the AFC East title, their first in 25 years. Tonight, the teams meet for the first time this season, and first place is on the line. Our coverage of Bills-Patriots starts at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN. Purdue is number 1 in college basketball for the first time. The new Associated Press poll is out today, and the Boilermakers are now the unanimous number 1. Their next game at Rutgers Thursday night. And Medina Spirit, who crossed the finish line first in the Kentucky Derby, collapsed and died today.
From the English Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
There's nothing worse than coming home from a cold day to find out that your heater isn't working. When this happens, you need an HVAC company you can trust. A company like Priority Heating and Air. Their HVAC specialist will give your system a thorough checkup. And if you need a new unit, Priority Heating and Air is a proud distributor of the Coleman line of HVAC systems. So keep your family or business warm this winter and give Priority Heating and Air a call today at 591-1847 or online at PriorityHeatingandAirHVAC.com.
Your HVAC problem is our priority. Priority Heating and Air. This feature sponsored by Indeed. If your seasonal hiring needs are covered, then you don't need Indeed. Indeed is the smart hiring platform that delivers 4 times more hires than all other sites combined. According to Talent Nest, post a job and hire ASAP. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
The Upstate Holiday Light Show is going on now at Greenville Pickens Speedway. Drive through a nighttime Christmas wonderland as 32 million colors set the sky ablaze, synchronized to the music of your favorite holiday classics. UpstateLights.com.
Cricket Holiday Hotline, what's your wish?
Hey, I'm looking at my new phone plan, brand new phone plan right here. That's gotta go fast.
Well, Cricket has super fast nationwide 5G and all plans, just in time for the holidays.
Do we have 1G, 3G, 4G, 5G?
Oh no!
Oh, starting the week off wrong.
No. 0 for 1 on the week. Now I got to chug this other one so I get another chance.
Dell Technologies end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech. Save big on the latest computers powered by Intel Core processors for your small business. Don't forget to shop servers, storage, and top brand electronics with savings up to 45% and all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor to help you find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Todd thought it would be secure to
Lane Kiffin just posted this.
And now Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles.
Okay.
But the good news is Todd has AT&T 5G. It's fast.
But it's Lane Kiffin, so that could just be a troll that he's sitting in his office laughing right now.
Could be.
AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated. 5G requires reliable calling device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for details.
Get help managing your money for the life and years ahead with Fidelity Income Planning. We'll look at what you save, save, and help you build a flexible.
Obviously, it's going to have to be a short segment.
Yeah.
Fantasy player. It's about 2%.
I already have all the breaks set up for Mark's show.
That's a big time bonus. And all you need to do to claim it is make your first deposit. If you've never tried FanDuel, now is the perfect
That's funny, Richie.
You'll love playing fantasy football on FanDuel. Not only is it easy to start, but you can set new lineups every game day, keeping the action fresh all season long. There are many types of game formats to choose from, and you can even play private contests with your friends. There's an awesome slate of games on hand this week and every week. So what are you waiting for? Get in on all the excitement and experience season-long wins without the season-long waits. Sign up today at FanDuel.com/play to claim your bonus and start playing today. That's
Somebody just said, I don't think Cheez-Its could have picked a bowl matchup that looked more like a Cheez-It box if they tried.
Oh, that's a good point. Oh, my God. Wow.
Texter just texted in. It's 71307. Start your text with ESPN. We're getting on the air. During the break, Rob Brown has a patchy beard. That's it. That's the whole text. Rob Brown, I have been working on it, man. Just texted in, Rob Brown has a patchy beard. That's the whole text. Our text line is certifiably insane today.
That's the equivalent of a your mama joke.
It's worse. All right? It's worse because I am doing the best I can. I have rubbed beard oil on it. I've thrown some chia seeds in there for a little extra boost. I have done all I can do.
Wait, what?
That's not real.
Okay, well, I had to check.
Actually spread chia seeds on my face.
Well,
Some people have said it looks like I do.
now I can't unsee it.
Listen, I know it's a bad beard, but it's the best I can do, okay? I know it's a bad beard, but it's the best I can do. We can't all be Diesel.
I was going to say, now he could give you some tips. I mean, because that's perfection right
Diesel
there.
has a majestic beard. I do the best I can.
How many hours a day you think?
Multiple. He's got to, right?
Yeah, he has to.
Either that or he is like the lasting lineage of a Greek god of some type.
It could be, or he actually has some makeup people who come in and tune it up every day.
He's got a beard girl.
Yeah, he does.
She shows up at his house an hour before the show and just gives some prim and proper.
But she better not be late.
Oh, the texter said, JK, I like your beard. Texture says, Patchy is better than gospel quartet baritone baby-faced Rob. You're not wrong. I was once...
See, I would like to...
You're not getting clean. And unless Rob is mandated by management to shave, which will not happen, I got that in my contract. Unless I'm mandated to shave, you will never seen...
Yeah, if you're...
You're never gonna see a clean face Rob again. It's just not gonna happen. All right, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Texture says, better beard, Rob or the face with the little magnets in the dollar store aisle? That's a good burn.
I don't think I've been in.
Yes, you have.
No, I'm not sure. Dollar store, the actual dollar store?
Yeah.
I've been to a dollar store.
Yeah, you've seen this guy before.
No.
You've got little shavings. Willie is his name, and I've now got a texter that asks, better beard, Rob or Willie from the dollar store?
I don't know if I'm...
That's a good burn.
If I'm a better person now that I've learned that or not. I'm not quite sure. Yeah.
That's a great burn.
No.
How much do I need to donate to get Buzzhead Lonzo and Baldface Rob? Double my annual salary and we'll do it. You give me a check. I'll tell you what, you give me one check for my annual salary, and I promise Lonzo and I will give Lonzo half of my annual salary to shave his head.
This is not a crack. There's a good shot you could afford, Rob's annual salary. So you could probably do that. So
all right, it's just Burn Rob Monday.
Oh no. It's more than mine. So
bring me the best burns. I'm here for it. Texture says Hellman's is better than Duke's. Yeah, I said it. Oh, good luck. Good luck with the mob that's about to assemble at your front door. All right, and finally, let's see. In the Facebook chat, Richie has said in the Facebook chat, it's now a Wynasty in Clemson. The D is gone. All right. It's Deep Burn Monday. Bring your best burns. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate.
Rain showers here for this afternoon with partial sunshine developing a high around 67. Tonight, a slight chance for rain early on, increasing clouds a little near 37. Tuesday, slight chance for rain early high around 54. And meteorologist Jennifer Luchitsky from this 57.
Odyssey app and listen to ESPN Upstate and all the sports. And your people do everything possible to see that it is all in one place.
Wow. I'm not gonna put this on the Twitter trending topics because I want to tell you about this. MODOK will have a major role in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, let's go. MODOK's one of my favorite bad guys. I don't care about anybody. Him in the Avengers game was dope.
Yeah.
I loved how they put him together.
Yeah,
that was great. And that final battle against him was genuinely the most fun I've had in a final boss battle in a while.
You call that fun, huh?
I loved it. It took me 15 tries just to get past, and you got to fight it with every character, which was fantastic.
Yeah, that's the part that wasn't fun for me because there are some characters I didn't like. I just didn't play with a whole lot, and then you got to remember, oh crap, I actually have to use this guy.
Have you done the fishing in Skyrim yet?
Yes.
Is it worth any time? I just found out this weekend. I guess you can pull valuable items.
Yeah.
Fishing.
I just I got 2 rings yesterday. One of them makes you 15% faster when you walk.
Oh, that's dope. I don't hate that.
That for me is like,
yeah, I don't hate that at all.
Especially when you're fighting magic users like you, and you're doing you can run up on them with just a regular walk instead of trying to run towards them, and it won't cost you any stamina or anything if you get that ring for 15%. And not only that, but I could take that, break it down, and then as my skill gets more, I can make it probably more than 15%. I don't want to take a chance of breaking the ring down, though, just in case. Rob Brown Show, what do you want to talk about? Okay, what's your name? All right, hold on. I started over, too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Again?
I started over because the way I built the thing, I went up too many levels on other stuff, and I was playing in Legendary. I couldn't compete.
Right.
So now my new build, I made sure that I strengthened my all my stuff.
Shaven Rob.
No, that's some dude in Oklahoma. There's no way that's you.
This is at the McClellan Climactic Laboratory. This is in the Panhandle of Florida, and they took this building and they turned it into a giant freezer so they can simulate blizzards and ice storms inside of it. It's actually really cool.
It looks like it would be cool.
This was when Babyface Rob.
See, the hair is what's throwing me off.
It's not too much different than what I have now.
Yeah,
I just didn't put as much into it.
Yeah, it just doesn't. And the glasses. I mean, the glasses are appear to be kind of generic.
Oh, they were. I was not.
Yeah.
This was when I was a regular reporter, and we got told, don't wear anything that will upstage the anchor's fashion.
That also is probably a coat that you borrowed. Because
I never owned a coat.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
fur
That's what I
lined.
figured. I just don't. There are a lot of things that are throwing me off there, taking away from the mini goatee thing you got going there. And you appear to be heavier there.
Yeah, I've told you the story about the first time I was on camera and what my mom said, right?
Yeah, I started over. I just played all day yesterday. I decided to be lazy and just not do anything but laundry and just played Skyrim all day.
Not mad about that.
But the fishing is very easy. It's not like other fishing games where you actually have to fish. And I fished several times before I actually started catching rings. I got 2 rings.
Yeah.
One of them was the one I told you about.
But
you also get fish. I caught some vampire fishes. Vampire fish.
Fish. Vampire fish.
Yes, vampire
which
fish.
implies that a vampire has been going around.
They look like vampire
fighting fish.
Unfortunately, I wanted to put I told you about when you build a house, you can build fish tanks.
Yeah.
All the fish you catch, you can put in
put 'em in there?
tanks.
Okay,
Yeah, and you can go look at them. So I'm looking at the vampire fish, and I've caught some small fish. It's like, I want to put them in there and see if the vampire fish eat them. But you only can put big fish in big fish tanks. So I need to find another big fish to put in there to see if the vampire fish either eat them or turn them into vampires.
I was going to say.
Oh, crap. Crap.
What?
How did... Wait. Did we miss an entire break? No. We just don't have time. Never mind. I'm just panicking for no reason.
All right, we got to run in and out because I took us way off the clock. Michael, I see you on the line. If you will hold through the break, I will get you on the other side. Coming up in the next hour, we will dive deep down into what's going on at Clemson and take a look at a couple of stories out of the NBA and NFL after a wild weekend. That's next on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
It's been that kind of day, though. So we're still on time. I just lost it for a moment, but I'm back and I'm okay. It's all right.
It was an eventful weekend for the Carolina Panthers, even though they had the bye week. It was announced on Sunday that the team
I can even tell you where to get a fishing pole without making one.
It doesn't take much to make one.
It doesn't, but I mean, in the very first fishing spot, it's called, I think it's Embershard Mine. When you first come out of the cave,
yeah,
and you're going down towards Riverwood, there's a mine to the right.
You know what? I think I found it, and I think I left it there because I was like, I'm not fishing. I didn't know.
I wasn't going to either, and I didn't know you could get rings and stuff till yesterday. I just wanted to feed the vampire fish. I also caught some angelfish. So they've got some pretty fish. Of course, I've only ever caught like crappie and bluegill and some bass. So I've never actually caught other real fish.
I got to Riften for the first time in the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking up to the gate, and a dragon attacked me, like at the front gate. No, not dragon, gargoyles. Two gargoyles attacked me.
Vampires.
So I'm hitting them, and they take like a tank to get through. I kill the second one, and then the guards at Riften just start attacking me. And I'm like,
so you might have accidentally punched one of them.
I might have.
So what you should have did is just take your hands down.
Do they stop if you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I wailed on two of them, and then I just ran away, and I'm like hoping to buy. But when I killed the second one, it said
no witnesses.
No witnesses, so no bounty. So I just left and waited a day and came back.
Yeah, there you go. Or you could do that. But yeah, you get in a bit. If you accidentally hit one of them, usually it works. Sometimes they just try to kill you. Harley in the first break. And, well, you already saw a phone call.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on now. This is ESPN Upstate. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Alonzo and you. We are absolutely screaming through the show today. I mean, screaming through the show today. So if you want to be a part of it, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. Texture says Rob's face looks like boat. That's a callback, Alonzo. That's a callback joke from like 2 weeks ago, and very well done, Texter.
Not bad. Not bad at all. We thank you for listening so much.
Yeah. Thank you. That is a committed listener, and we appreciate it greatly. Michael was kind enough to hold through the break to talk a little bit about the move of Brent Venables out of Clemson and to Oklahoma. A lot more drama going on around the Tigers program. Let's get Michael in here. What's up, big fella?
What's up? How are you?
Good, buddy.
I'll make it quick. And I want to preface this. I'm not saying that Clemson people are at fault. But when, like, last week it was pretty obvious that Venables was going to be gone. Every one of them, to the T, said the same thing. Oh, he don't want to be a head coach. His boys go to Clemson. They're not going anywhere. As if, like, a person making $2 million that could make $8 million is just going to say no because it's Clemson. I think they got to the point, like, they started to believe their own BS to the point like that. They honestly didn't see this coming. It's fun to watch. I'm not going to lie.
You know, there's, and this is always what's interesting, especially for the further away from the program you get is we all, because, and we had this conversation, I think last week, Michael, we all are brought up loving the college program that we love because our friends and families love it. So it becomes a central part of the bond that you have with other people in your life who love the same football program. And we start to project that onto athletic directors and coaches and players, right? We expect them to feel the same way about the school that we do. I got to tell you, outside of like my immediate family, if somebody came to me and cut me a check for $8 million to never go back to my family reunion, I'd have a real tough time saying no to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you. And the other thing is, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Dabo's gone too. Like he said, he doesn't like the NIL stuff. He obviously doesn't like the transfer. Like, he's not about what college football is becoming. And it wouldn't surprise me if he went to Las Vegas. Like, it's all changing. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yes, it will. Michael, appreciate it, big fella. Thanks for jumping in, man.
Sir.
You got it. That's Michael calling in on the show. You can do the same at 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Shoot us a text on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN. We'll read them on the air. You can also tweet us. Tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. Tweet Lonzo at Lonzo one word. Tweet us all at ESPN Upstate, which will be a fun day because your boy will be sitting in for the first 3 hours of Offsides with Mark Ryan as well. So you're going to get the old double dose of Rob Brown today. You're welcome, or I'm sorry, whichever one is more applicable here. Texas says, please let Michael know in Clemson we could hire Will Muschamp and still beat South Carolina. I got to tell you, I'm about to direct the entire text line to the hospital because it is just full of burns today, man. Just full of burns. Yeah, I also saw a couple of people, and granted, it's a very small.
Wait.
Prove what?
Prove it.
Prove what?
Hire Will Muschamp.
Oh. I have seen a small number, for the record, a very small number. But I've seen a small number of Clemson fans who are like, oh, why would Brent leave us, right? We're Clemson. We all have a deep connection to our university, whether it's you went there or you grew up and your family were fans of that university, and so you watched them, whatever. We all have a deep connection to our program, to our school, et cetera, et cetera. And we start to project. Oh, by the way, I'm sitting in as a producer on Mark's show. I'm going to be producing Mark's show, not hosting it. So you'll get me and Mark together at the same time. Good luck, everybody. We all project our passion, our love for our college football program of choice. We project that onto everybody else, right? Like everybody who wears that C or that Fighting Chicken logo or whatever, we all project that onto them. I got to tell you, and I've said the same thing. Right now, if the Las Vegas Raiders were to hire John Gruden, to hire Dabo Swinney to replace John Gruden, Chucky signed a 10-year, $100 million contract. All right? 10-year, $100 million contract. That is likely about the same that they would have to sign Dabo to, because Dabo's contract with Clemson that was extended not too long ago was 10 years, $93 million as the head coach, right? So it would take a decade long, and this is why I'm not wholesale panicking yet that Dabo's going to Las Vegas, because they are still waiting on the lawsuits that are likely coming from John Gruden against the Raiders in the NFL, which may entitle John Gruden to some or all of the remaining money on that contract, which means that John Gruden's contracts might still be on the book for the Raiders. And if they want Dabo, they'd likely have to offer him an identical contract of 10 years and $100 million to get out of the one at Clemson and make him more money. So I'm not worried about him leaving for the Raiders this year. Next year is where I think you got to be concerned.
There's something we didn't think about, something we didn't touch on. The bad image that you have from having John Gruden there, if it's possible for the Raiders look any worse, you can fix that image. How do you do that? You go get someone who's supposedly the opposite of John Gruden, the ultimate players coach, the good old boy, the guy that everybody loves. You're willing to pay that. Bring Dabo Swinney there because of the that aura that he brings with him?
So if there is a franchise in the NFL that genuinely has that we're a family mentality to it, that Dabo is supposed to have at Clemson, right? It's the Raiders. Remember, you know the whole nation thing, Red Sox Nation, and it's Who Dat Nation, and it's Gamecock. The Raiders were the first to do that. It was Raider Nation before there were any other nations. The first nation was Raider Nation. Everybody else came after that, right? So the Raiders have kind of had that ingrained into their culture for like a very long time, which makes me think if they are trying to, and I'm not saying that this is true. This is me. Honestly, this is just pure speculation. I hadn't even thought about that until literally this moment. But if the Raiders are going to play into that whole Raider Nation and the Raider family motif that they love so much, which is why, and that's kind of based off the fact that Al Davis handed it down to Mark Davis. If they're going to play off of that, who better than the guy who has built the number one we are family image in college football, Dabo Swinney.
And you take it one step further, he's coming home to family because of the majority, not the majority, but how many Clemson players are already there. So he is coming to the Raiders to join his family.
I mean, a lot of them are there, right? If there's a team that makes sense for Dabo Swinney to go to in the NFL, if he does one out and there's a team, there is not a team that makes more sense than the Las Vegas
Raiders.
Raiders.
As you mentioned in an earlier hour about possibly bringing Deshaun Watson there, then you can build that as the homecoming.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if Dabo goes to Las Vegas, I assume that perhaps Deshaun waives his no trade clause in order to go play for Dabo in Las Vegas. He's already got a fistful of Clemson players in that organization, right? If there is a team that makes sense for Dabo to leave Clemson and go to the NFL for, and remember, and I'm not saying that this is accurate, I'm simply saying let's play word games, right? College football is built on word games. Remember what Dabo said he was going to do if players started getting paid. Now, he's walked this back since then, but I think it's fair for all of us to assume that Dabo's not a big fan of NIL, right? And when the NIL stuff came down the pipe initially, he said, if players are going to start getting paid, do you remember what he said he would do? He said, I'll go somewhere where that is already ingrained. Maybe I'll go to the NFL. So players are getting paid, which he said was a trigger. The defensive coordinator, who even Clemson fans think might have been the biggest factor in Clemson being as good as they've been for the past half decade, is gone. Their offensive coordinator, who was a huge factor in that, has a foot out the door interviewing for other jobs, and their athletic director is gone. If Dabo had a time to jump for the NFL, he has two options. He can stay at Clemson, and if he rebuilds Clemson and turns them back into Dynasty 2.0, Dabo Swinney will go down behind Nick Saban as the greatest college football coach of all time, right? It'll be Nick Saban 1, Dabo 2, Bobby Bowden 3, everybody else in line after that. Paul Bryant maybe 3, Bobby 4. I don't know, whatever the list is going to be. He'll be at the top of it. Or if there was a time to jump to the league for Dabo, this is it. But everybody else in that core foundation is gone. And the Raiders are set up perfectly for him. Melinda is on the line to talk a little bit about Dabo. Miss Melinda, welcome back to the show. It is so good to have you.
Hey, guys, got a question. Do you think Dabo's coaching style translates to the NFL? Because, I mean, he's more of the cheerleader, motivator type guy than he is the businessman you normally see with the NFL head coaches.
Oh, no.
I mean, look at these.
Go ahead, Melinda. Sorry.
But you look at these college guys that have tried to make the jump. How many of them actually succeeded?
Pete Carroll. I think that's pretty much of Dabo's stature because Steve Spurrier failed, Nick Saban failed. Pete Carroll's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. And even that, I mean, Pete Carroll had a really good run of a handful of years, but the Seahawks aren't that good this year, though they did beat the 49ers yesterday.
It hurts to say this, but Jim Harbaugh, I think.
Harbaugh's fair. Yeah. Harbaugh's fair. So, too. Here's what I'll say. And this is not a shot, although some Clemson fans are going to take it this way, Melinda, not a shot. I think Dabo Swinney will be a disaster in the NFL, to tell you the truth. I don't think I agree with you. I don't think his coaching style translates to the NFL at all. I think he'll be a disaster in the NFL, but that does not stop guys for like Saban and Spurrier and Harbaugh and Carroll from wanting to give it a shot at the highest level. I think the other thing is the reason he might want to give it a shot is if he goes to Vegas and he's there for 2 or 3 years and it goes wrong and he fails, there's going to be a litany of schools that line up to give Dabo Swinney another $100 million contract to come coach then, plus the buyout money that he'll get from Las Vegas at that point if they fire him. Again, I'm not saying he will. I'm not saying he should. I'm saying, Melinda, if there was a time for Dabo Swinney to go to the NFL, everything is lined up perfectly for him to do it right now.
Correct. I just don't see his coaching style fitting in the NFL. He's designed to coach at the college level with his coaching style, in my opinion.
No, I agree entirely, Melinda. Thank you very much. It's great to have you back on the show. Feel free to call anytime. I think Dabo would be a disaster in the NFL. I think he'd be just like Nick Saban. That being said, keep in mind, what's Nick Saban doing right now? If the Miami Dolphins training staff cleared Drew Brees to be a Dolphin. Remember, Drew Brees was going to be a Miami Dolphin, and he had that torn labrum in his shoulder, and the Miami Dolphin training staff said, we don't think he's ready. We don't think he'll ever be able to be the same guy. So the Dolphins passed on him. He went to New Orleans. Dante Culpepper came to Miami. Where is Nick Saban right now? If Drew Brees went to Miami and was Drew Brees, he's probably still in the NFL, if I had to guess.
More than likely, or he's already retired from the NFL.
One or the other.
Yeah. But I'm not trying to defend Dabo here, but I will a little bit. He was, there were people wanting to run him out of town his first couple of years in Clemson, and he stuck it around because he was able to find, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, the right assistant coaches. Who's to say he couldn't do the same thing in the NFL? Bring in some guys that are really good, that have been other places, let them run the offense, let them run the defense, and he just be the CEO. I think he could do that.
Yeah, but see, I don't think that you have too many CEO style coaches in the NFL. I don't think there's a lot of those. I don't think that coaching style works. I think with the NFL, you've got to be much more hands-on, right? The NFL is much less. It's still about appointing the guys to the right place, but you've got to be an X's and O's. You've got to be control of every little tiny detail of an NFL team. And I'm not saying Dabo's not. I mean, he's a very detailed guy.
If you're that a lot of the things people are saying are true, that without his offensive coordinator, without his defensive coordinator, he's going to hit rock bottom. If you're afraid that you're going to be found out to a certain degree, you jump to the NFL where you're supposed to fail. Then you can jump back into college later.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's supposed to fail. So
first off, would Clemson fans be mad if he jettisoned for the NFL? In fairness, I would be fine if they were. If Clemson fans are mad, because remember, Dabo's whole thing has been preaching, even when things go bad, we're all in this together, we're family, etc. If he bails for the NFL, even though in a professional sense, it makes perfect sense for him.
Because of the NIL.
Yep.
And he's already set those things in motion earlier on when all this was a possibility. So he can say, hey, you know what? College football has changed too much. I might as well go where the professionals are.
Yeah. If there's a jumping off point that has ever been custom made for a dude, it's right now for Dabo Swinney to leave Clemson, right? He's lost 3 of the core. He is the last one standing in the core foundation, unless Tony Elliot stays, which he might. Elliot might stay. But of the 3 that you wanted to stay, with all due respect to him, it wasn't Tony Elliott. The offense took 10 weeks to find their identity this year, and they didn't until too late in the season. But you lost all 3. The Raiders' job's open. That is an NFL franchise that preaches the whole family thing. Yeah, kind of funny, but they do. It's stacked with Clemson guys on the roster. He's probably one of the few guys that could talk Deshaun Watson into coming there so he can get one of his guys under center and a guy that's already proven successful, right? The Raiders will pay him the same $100 million, actually more than Clemson's paying him right now. And he's built such a legacy at Clemson that if he leaves Clemson and goes to the NFL and things don't work out in the NFL, Lonzo, there's going to be a line of 18 other schools that'll pay him a 10-year, $100 million contract down the line. And 2-3 years from now, remember, 5 years ago, I think there were 2 guys making $100 million, and Nick Saban was one of them. We've had, I think, 4 contracts this coaching carousel that threaten $100 million with bonuses. Brian Kelly got one. Dabo's got his with bonuses is $100 million. Nick Saban's got one. I mean, there's more guys than ever before. What's that contract going to look like 3 years from now if he fails in the NFL? He might have a $110 million contract coming down the pipe down the line, right? So everything's set up. And here's the last thought I have, and we'll run to a break. If the Raiders truly are in on Dabo right now, if that's part of the reason he was there, and it may be coincidence. He may have only been there for CJ Spiller. It's just, we have to speculate. That's part of the job. If he goes now, the iron's hot for him in the NFL, right? The iron's hot for him in the NFL. If he stays at Clemson, and with the departure of Dan Radakovich, with the departure of Brent Venables, with the potential departure of Tony Elliott, what happens, Lonzo? And I don't think he will. But what happens if Dabo misfires on replacing 2 of those 3, and Clemson next year goes 8-4, and then the year after that goes 7-5, and the year after go 8-4? A, the NFL cools on him a little bit. B, he's not getting a $100 million contract in the NFL past that. And C, he's not getting $100 million contracts lined up for him after he goes to the NFL if he does not perform in the NFL. It makes sense, if nothing else, financially for him to go now, because he's getting a $100 million contract from the Raiders. And if that fails, he's getting a $100 million contract when he comes back to college football. But if the Clemson Tigers, without Venables, without Elliott, without Radakovich, and him replacing those 3 positions, because don't get me wrong, Dabo's going to call the shot on who the new AD is, right? Like, he's going to be able to go in there and go, this is the guy I want.
I would say, but they'll say no, absolutely
of course
not.
But say
that. Yeah.
But Dabo's the highest paid guy on campus. He's going to help, if not outright, he's going to help pick the AD. If they do that, and Clemson fails over the next 2 or 3 years, all of that $100 million contract stuff, he's now stuck at Clemson, because that'll be the only place that pays him $100 million. No NFL team's going to do it at that point, and no other colleges are going to line up to give him $100 million, right? You can't do it at Clemson. You can't do it anywhere. If he's going to go, every star is aligned for him to leave right now to go to the NFL. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. So that's my thought. If Dabo does not leave now, Dabo is not leaving. All right? He's yours for life. If he doesn't get out now, he's truly purple and orange for life. Woo. Clemson fans, what's your thoughts? 844-GSP-ESPN. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's ESPN Upstate. Harley Davidson of Greenville, ladies and gentlemen. They don't want you to buy, they do want you to buy Harley Davidson, but they don't want you to just buy a Harley Davidson. They want you to become a part of the Harley Davidson of Greenville family. And here's what I mean. First time I went over there to see our friends at Harley Davidson of Greenville, I was blown away. First off, I was incredibly impressed with just the showroom itself, right? You want to talk about attention to detail? We talk about Saban and Dabo. These guys have immaculate attention to detail, and you can see that in the shop at Harley Davidson of Greenville. I couldn't find a speck of dust in the place. It's organized, it's well put together, which shows that they have a care and concern for their quality of work. Second off, I was blown away by the inventory. They have an absolute beautiful showroom full of bikes that are gorgeous. I had like 9. I'm like, I'm going to buy that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. They're absolutely glorious. But it wasn't just the cleanliness, the organization, or the inventory. As I'm standing there at the front desk, waiting for my opportunity to go back and talk to the folks at Harley, I watched a guy walk in who had if he hadn't just bought his bike, it was in the last couple of days, and he starts talking to him. And he's talking to the girl behind the desk. When you walk in, there's a desk to your left, and then there's like a customer service table right in the middle. And the guy's talking to him, to the young lady behind the desk, and he's like, yeah, I don't really know where to go ride. And she sits there and says, all right, if you want to see this, go this way. You want to see this way, draws him out a map. The whole 9. Wanted to make sure he'd already bought the bike. He already tricked it out. He had the gear on. Wasn't there to say, she just wanted him to be able to go out and use that bike to have the best possible time on it. And I thought that was incredible. I had been to shops before where if you ain't putting money down, if you ain't throwing the Visa down on the table, they don't have time for you. But this lady took time out of her day to make sure that he had not just a ride, but he knew where 7, 8, 9, 10 rides were for him to take his new Harley out and live the Harley-Davidson lifestyle, and they'll do the same for you. Go online to upstateharley.com, or go to 30 Chrome Drive in Greenville, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You can grab one of the brand new models, trick it out exactly how you want, and they will tell you where to go to get the best rides. It's incredible, and it's only with my friends at Harley. Upstateharley.com or 30 Chrome Drive. It's our friends at Harley-Davidson of Greenville.
Panthers, even though they had the bye week, it was announced on Sunday that the team has parted ways with offensive coordinator Joe Brady. This is somewhat a surprise. It was considered a real coup for him to join the Panthers and join head coach Matt Rule's original staff, but the offense just has not clicked. Senior offensive assistant Jeff Nixon is going to serve as the offensive coordinator for the rest of this season. The Panthers are getting ready for a game against Atlanta coming up on Sunday. Speaking of the Falcons, they lose to the Buccaneers yesterday by a 30-17 score. That drops their record to 5-7. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score.
And that, buddy, that's why you are not only official chaplain of the show, and what were your roles? Audio engineer of the show, but now unofficial marketing engineer of the show too, big dog. Keegan's in charge of all branding. If you have any, you might as well be my agent at this point. If anybody has any interest in getting your branding on the Rob Brown Show, Keegan's got your back.
This is important news. If you have unfiled tax returns, the IRS is shifting gears.
Ooh, nothing but net. Very nice.
If you failed to file your tax returns for a year or more, or you owe back taxes, now's the time to call Optima Tax Relief before the IRS finds you. Optima is America's #1 most trusted tax resolution firm.
Dun 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 dun.
Businesses get right with the IRS. They're experts in the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, a powerful new program that can make resolving tax issues easier. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima's award-winning team has helped thousands of people protect their paychecks, bank accounts, homes, and businesses by putting their tax problems to rest, resolving over $1 billion in tax debts for their clients. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-706-7944. 800-706.
This is how you decorate for Christmas, Lonzo.
800-706-7944.
Nice.
This is how you decorate for Christmas. Share with us with a stream, because this is solid effort.
Hip hip hooray for Christmas. It's that time.
This is brilliant.
Christmas time is here.
That's a lot of money is what that is. But, I mean, good for them.
There's not a better time of year. Hear that sleigh. Santa's on his way. Hip hip hooray for Christmas vacation. Got a ton of stuff to celebrate.
Oh, that's good of them. Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
It's
That really is cool.
time. Christmas
That's
time.
how you decorate for Christmas. That's unbelievable.
And chances are that might actually be Randy Quaid. I mean, it could possibly be him.
All season, you can follow your favorite team no matter where you are on Odyssey, your audio home for football. Odyssey brings you local sports talk across the NFL's biggest markets. Get Monday morning reactions and exclusive interviews.
Apparently, they're making a McGruber TV show.
Why not?
Why not?
Stay in touch with the heartbeat of your team, even when you're thousands of miles away. Download the Odyssey app today to get started.
If your family depends on your income and something happened to you, what would happen to them? You need life insurance, and SelectQuote can help you get it at a price you can afford.
SelectQuote found Jacob, 40, who's in excellent health, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month.
Not a perfect house? Don't worry.
Select Quote found Tanya, 40, who has type 2 diabetes, a 10-year, $500,000 policy.
We shop companies like Protective, Prudential, American General, and others to find your company.
I hope the rest of your day goes by as quickly as.
The show has flown,
Yes.
dude.
I don't recall it going by this fast.
This
ever.
show has flown.
It's like, and they got military time on here now, so I'm looking like this. That's not, no, that's not really. It's that. That's also. I'm also telling you, they got military time on here now. So you'll know.
I grew up in a military community. I know how to read it.
Okay. All right. I think they did it on purpose just to confuse people. See how good you are.
Just take away 12 until you memorize what the numbers are. $1,600 minus 4 makes it 2 o'clock.
2.
Or 4 o'clock.
What?
I said I could. I said do the math, not that I am capable of it.
It's okay, because I'm snotting. Yeah, okay.
They updated our system, and our updated system now uses a 24-hour clock instead of a 12-hour clock, which is effectively military time. Lonzo's like, they changed it. And I said, that's fine. I grew up near Eglin Air Force Base. I grew up around people who, even in retirement, kept time in military time, right? So I said, until you memorize it, until 1600 becomes the same as 4 o'clock, you just take whatever the two numbers are up front, take 12 away, whatever's left, that's what time it is. So I said, 1600 minus 12 is what time? 2 o'clock, because I'm an idiot. 4 o'clock, you dummy. All right, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP. ESPN is the number. Text line's open, 71307. Start your text with ESPN. We've been, look, the show, first off, the show has absolutely flown by, right? Like, I looked up, I seriously thought it was still like 1:30. We are almost at the end of the show.
That's why I keep almost messing up, because I'm like, whoa, break time already.
The show is ripping by right now.
And I want to thank all the texters and the phone calls. And you're the reason why this thing's flying by. Thank you.
Great show. Texter says, has a university ever lost the athletic director, head coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator in the same offseason? Let's start with, hang on.
Lost is one thing. Now firing them all, I'm sure that's happened.
Well, I don't know. Not the AD included, right? Because remember, Dan Radakovich is gone now too. He's at Miami now, and like 24 hours after he gets there, they got a new coach as they hire Mario Cristobal away from Oregon.
Every time you say Dan Radakovich, I remember I was at the NCAA tournament for basketball, and Greg McKinney, who was the host here at the time, Radakovich was sitting 2 seats away from us. He's like, tell him how much you hate Clemson. And he kept elbowing. Do it. Go ahead, do it. And I never did. I'm not going to be disrespectful of someone, especially while prove to him that I would.
So the AD's gone. He's at Miami. Now, I will say this again. The good news is
Isn't that kind of a shocker, though? I mean, when I first heard that, I was like, why would he leave?
Well, he's a Miami guy. That's
Okay.
where he went to school. That's his alma mater. So it's not as surprising once you learn that Radakovich is a Miami guy. So that makes sense that he would go there, right? And let's take a deep breath, because again, Tony Elliot has interviewed for the Duke job, right?
Has he interviewed in the past, though, for any other jobs?
I don't know.
Because I seem to recall him being mentioned for jobs, but I don't remember if he actually interviewed for them or not.
I don't know is the answer. I don't know. I also don't know that Duke is going to put money on the table that is equivalent to what Tony Elliott gets paid by Clemson, right? Like, anytime a coach is going to jump, the first thing you have to look at is the contract. I'm sorry. These are these people's professional contracts and money.
Unless you've always wanted to be a head coach and here's your opportunity and it's not really that far away from where you are now, I think maybe you will at least take even money to up in position.
Maybe. Tony Elliott's making $2 million a year. All right. Let's see. I think Duke's a private university, so I don't know. Let's see. All right. So Tony Elliott's making $2 million a year, And it looks like David Cutcliffe was making, according to the ACC, in 2018, he was making 2.5 mil. This past season, he walks with 2.9. All right. So he's making between a half to a mil more than Tony Elliott. Duke could come off $3 million to get Tony Elliott as their head coach. Is that a good spot for Tony Elliott to take his first coaching position, right? Because even if the money is there, it's still Duke, right? He's got to play Clemson. The ACC's down. If there ever was a time to take over at Duke, it's right now, sure. Right? Because especially if he walks and Dabo's left in that front office by himself to fill every role, including the AD offensive and defensive coordinators. If there was ever a time for a coach to show up in Duke and try to elevate them to the next level, it's right now. So maybe that makes it more appealing. But is $500,000 to $1 million more per year enough to leave a proven winner like Clemson to go to a place like Duke to cut your teeth as the head coach? I don't know. Especially when you just watched Brent Venables go to Oklahoma where he's making, I think, $9 million a year, right? Is $3 million a year enough to leave a proven winner? And could Tony Elliott go to Dabo and go, hey, coach, Duke called me. They're going to offer me $3 million. Can you match it? Yeah, $1 million is a big jump in salary for a coordinator. But if Dabo genuinely believes that Tony Elliott's the guy, maybe he comes off another $1 million. I don't know. Texas says, I would not blame Dabo for leaving Clemson. It's a business. Same with any of these guys. Yeah, absolutely. And I guess this is the part, because for so many of us, our college football fandom is not a business. Our college football fandom is not a business. It is a passion. It is a fanaticism. And then, as we talked with Michael to open this hour about, we project that onto the guys that make the program, which we inject our passion into, right? But for these guys, and it may be, Clemson may be a passion for Dabo Swinney. It may be. But he may also look, and he will know this better than we will, he may also look at an offensive coordinator with a foot out the door, a defensive coordinator who's gone, an athletic director who's gone. It's him left in the building to rebuild Clemson. I said earlier in the day, and I'm not trying to be dramatic, although I've been accused of it twice so far. Clemson's going into a rebuilding period now. They just are. You are about to hit a rebuilding year. The good news is you guys have been so good so long, and you've recruited well. Granted, a lot of that is because of Elliott and Venables, right? That's part of the recruiting process. You guys have recruited so long. Your rebuilding year might be 9-3. Might be 9-3. That might be the floor for Clemson, but it might not be, right? If Venables is as big of a deal, as a lot of Clemson fans have told me that he is, if he is that big of a deal, and you do not find a guy who can come in and measure up to that, maybe 7-5 is the rebuilding year. Maybe 6-6 is the rebuilding year. Who knows? But that is exactly the point. That is exactly why I've said, if there is a time for Dabo to hit the bricks and try his hand in the NFL, if he hasn't, by the way, I don't know for a fact that Dabo has any interest in trying his hand in the NFL, right? He may be uninterested in the NFL. I am trying to recall some of you that I gotta keep my eyes on 32 different NFL teams, 60 different college football teams, the NBA, soccer, international and domestic. I got my eyes on a lot of sports. So some of y'all will have more eyes on Dabo quotes than I do. I don't know that Dabo has ever expressed interest or disinterest in joining the NFL ranks. I don't know that for a fact. One of you may be able to hit me with that. Bring that quote, that knowledge if you have it. I'm looking for it. It's your show too. I don't know that he has interest or disinterest, but if there is any interest in the NFL, now's the time to jump if you're Dabo. The foundation is gone. It's not just rebuild the house. You got to rebuild the whole foundation from ground up. You go to the NFL, you're getting a $100 million contract or close to it. I say 100 mil because he's making 93 over 10 years from Clemson. So 100 is probably about the jumping off point. And Mark Davis cuts his own hair so he can pinch pennies to hand out $100 million contracts.
Dude, that's not real hair.
That's real hair, dude. He cuts it like that himself on purpose.
There's no way.
On purpose. But he does it to save the cost of a $30 haircut so that he can have $100 million to hand out to his new head coach, like he did with John Gruden, who was getting $100 million. Right? So if the Raiders cut Dabo a check for $100 million for 10 years, and he goes there, and he gets Saban'd, and he leaves, not only does he get the buyout money from the Raiders, but I promise you, in 3-4 years, there's going to be another top-tier college that's looking for their next guy and are going to call Dabo and go, I got $100 million for you. Hell, it might be Clemson. Lonzo, if Dabo goes to the NFL, falters for 3 years, Clemson misfires on their next head coach, tell me whoever the new AD is doesn't call Dabo and go, we kept your office warm.
Unless, of course, Dabo left for one of the reasons we talked about, that he knew he couldn't do it without those coordinators. And then why would he go back? Unless by then those coordinators may have not been successful other places and be willing to come back.
Yeah. Texture says, what about this? Ooh, I didn't even think about this. How about this? And then we'll take a break. Texture says, what about this? Dabo to Vegas, only lasts a few years, comes back to college to coach ... Alabama.
See, I feel bad because sometimes I say things and you just don't hear it. And I said that in the first hour.
I did not hear it.
It's okay. It's all right. And I wouldn't correct it except for I said first.
Good call. You did. Give Zoe the credit. Saban. Look, here's the thing. Nick Saban is a Highlander. All right? Nick Saban is a Highlander. And the only thing that can kill a Highlander is another Highlander. And I'm pretty sure Nick Saban's the last Highlander. Nick Saban might be 130 in coaching and look better than me and Lonzo at that point. All right?
Well, he already kind of does now. So.
Look better than he already does than Lonzo and I at that point. All right? Nick Saban is 217 years old. Somewhere there is a painting in an office building of Nick Saban, but like he looks really old. And until somebody finds and destroys that painting, Nick Saban is just going to look like Nick Saban forever. But yeah. What happens if Nick Saban does bail from Bama at the same time that Dabo realizes the NFL ain't for me? Remember, he's a Bama guy. There's already talk that he could come back there if Nick Saban leaves. Maybe this is his opportunity to kind of open that window a little bit. Yeah, it's just a thought. Quick break. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
All right. China's U-22 rover on the dark side of the moon has eyed a mysterious hut object in the distance.
It's a rock. It's always a rock. It's always a rock.
No, it's
they
only
found a face on Mars. It was a rock.
Okay, it's only hut with one T. Now, if it was hut with two T's,
then I'm interested in the story.
Yeah. See if they have a closer look at the picture.
There's a guy on Twitter that just called Brent Venables a quote traitor, end quote.
Of course.
To protest human rights violations in China. U.S. athletes will still participate at the games, but there'll be no official American representatives. Monday Night Football wraps up NFL Week 13 in style. The Bills and the Patriots battle for first place in the AFC.
Yeah, we're going to war with China anyway, so, I mean,
we just announced our...
Yeah, and China said if we did anything, there would be...
We ain't going to do anything, but we're just not going to send...
They said if you boycott in any way, or I forget the exact words.
We're boycotting in any way.
Yeah, we are, in some way.
Realistic chance we have a physical war with China before I die. Or which causes me to die. 40%, 25%.
I
10%?
don't want to get political here because I could get political here and say, with downsizing of the military and the way certain things are going, there may not be a fight.
Ever the pessimist is.
I'm just saying. I mean, but these things ebb and flow. They always do.
Yeah.
And we've been around for a while, and hopefully we continue to. So I clicked on that headline, and the people are kind of cracking on it being a hut. They said it more looks like an ice cube.
No, I have to go look. So they see.
It's just a little square in the distance. Yeah.
Blurriest smudge on the screen.
No, I agree.
And people are like, oh, it's clearly a house.
Yeah, it's a hut.
Because there's no other possibilities.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
That's all.
That's where the man in the moon lives. Duh.
Golly.
Actually, you know what it is? It's a leftover. What are the cubes from Cybertron? That's what it is.
The Allspark.
Energon cubes. It's Energon cubes. Cubes. What was that? Was Transformers 2?
Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah. Or this is part of the ad campaign for the Moon Attacks movie that's coming out. Which almost has got me to where I may want to go see it. I don't know. Because I love big time disaster films.
So do I.
The previews, the Moon Attacks, it's kind of.
I loved, you know what? A movie everybody hated, but I genuinely loved was 2012.
Oh, that's one of my favorite movies.
That movie.
Yeah. I mean,
it's so goofy, but it was so fun.
Again, I have patterned myself after Woody Harrelson in my.
I can see it.
That's my whole thing. I've even pointed it out. And I've got pickles in the fridge in there. So there you go. Yeah, a lot of that stuff very unrealistic in 2012, but still it was cool at the same time. It's one of those movies that comes on, I'm flipping through, I watch it. And even though I don't agree with his politics, John Cusack is still one of my favorite actors of all time, just because he's the same age. He's another one of those guys where you see him as a teenage actor, and as you grow older, they grow older, and they're still working.
You've got to go really far either way as an artist to get to the point where I can't put my dislike of you as a person.
Well,
over your
I've had these discussions with people over there, and it's like, you know what? If you can't go watch something that someone on the other side is acting in, you can't go watch anything.
You got to go way off
the whole point is they're acting.
Yeah.
They're playing a character, and if you believe in that character, then forget about who the actor is if they do it well. So.
All right, one thing from the ACC championship. We're going to dive more into today had to be all about Clemson, right? It just had to be. It was one of the most chaotic few days that I've ever seen for a college football program, at least in a very long time. Kenny Pickett and Pittsburgh up against Wake Forest in the ACC championship. I don't know if you got a chance to see this, Alonzo. Kenny Pickett sprint down the middle of the field, and he fakes a slide, but then pulls up and keeps running, right? So he fakes a slide in front of a couple of Wake Forest defenders. You can see it a little more clearly right there. Clearly fakes a slide. 3 Wake Forest defenders had him dead to rights, and they pull up because the quarterback's going to slide, and you can't even breathe on a quarterback that's sliding, right?
Yeah, good on him for taking advantage of a rule. I don't have a problem with it.
It is absolutely gamesmanship, and I will give him that. It's absolutely gamesmanship, and none of this discussion goes on Kenny Pickett. But they have to make the rule now that quarterbacks cannot fake a slide. If you commit to the slide, you are down, right? Because as Ryan Clark from ESPN accurately said, this is the first step towards mass targetings, right? The first step, because from this point forward, if you're a linebacker and you see a quarterback start to lean back, you now have visions of Kenny Pickett faking a slide in your head, and you're going to go for a hit.
And you have to make the decision. So you're going to err on the side of a penalty.
100%.
And yeah, you have to.
And if you don't, you're going to start having quarterbacks do Kenny Pickett's all the time.
Aren't you surprised that someone hasn't done that
I'm surprised
before?
it took this long.
Yeah.
At least on this visible of a platform. It may have happened in years past, like on smaller platforms. I'm surprised it took this long for a quarterback to fake the slide.
I think he could get away with saying that wasn't what he was doing, that he was thinking of changing it, that he was juking, and it wasn't going to slide.
He can say it.
Because if a run,
I want you to watch the right foot. You will not see a juke cut. Watch the right foot drag. You will not see a running back drag a foot up. Sorry, I didn't mean to start it over. You will not see a quarterback drag that foot like that. That is not a move. That's a fake slide.
The running backs can and will, when they go to change directions, they will do that.
You will not see them drag the top of their foot like that. That's a great way to get your leg broke if you are going to still take contact at that spot. Kenny Pickett faked a slide. 3 Wake Forest defenders pulled up because he should have slid. The NCAA has to fix that. That has to. And I'm not mad at Kenny Pickett. That's gamesmanship. He took advantage of a rule that's not written yet. I'm good with it. But that's a real good way to start getting quarterbacks absolutely killed in the future. Texter says, has Tony Elliot left yet? No, not yet. Not unless it's broken in the last 2 minutes. No, but he has interviewed with Duke. Now, question mark about that, whether that's good enough to leave or not. We just don't know yet. But the fact that he's willing to take an interview shows that if the conditions are right, he's out, right? Somebody's going to come for that guy. Even if Clemson's offense wasn't all that good this year, he's got a history of figuring it out, and he's a detail-oriented guy. Texture says ESPN, by NFL rules, he would have been ruled down right there, giving himself up. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That is a rule the college football has to adopt.
It was so slight. It really was.
It was enough.
Okay.
I mean, to me, was it not to you?
I'm saying that I think there's plausible deniability there from him.
I accept that there is. He could absolutely go, I thought I was going to slide, and then I realized that these two guys, I figured I could split the difference, so I pulled up and kept going. But in the NFL, this text is right. In the NFL, the officials would have blown it dead right there and considered the quarterback giving himself up. The NCAA has to adopt that now because of Kenny Pickett. Call it the Pickett rule. Has to be done immediately. Quick break. Twitter to wrap it all up on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
QC.
I knew that. Tell you about my friends at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics wants you to be able to live your life without joint pain and without the fear of joint pain. And it's impressive what they do. They offer non-surgical regenerative therapies. And what they do, inside of your joints, you have this connective tissue. I've told you guys this. That connective tissue breaks down as you age, starts to rub, you get inflammation, right? Well, what QC Kinetics does is harness your body's natural healing properties. You wonder why you don't have joint pains when you're younger? It's because your body is capable of replenishing and restoring that connective tissue. But as you age, it loses that ability. And QC Kinetics harnesses your body's own natural healing capability so that that connective tissue can start to be healed, can restore itself, can start to put itself back together, and you can get rid of that joint pain. It's an incredible process. And if you go to QCkinetics.com, QCKINETIX.com, QCkinetics.com, or give them a buzz at 864-448-3772, 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show. Get that first consultation for free, and they will explain to you how you can get that joint tissue back without getting cut open, sliced and diced, put on steroids, or have to go through downtime. 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show. Get that first consultation for free from our friends at QC Kinetics. Yeah, that's fine.
I haven't run it since the Switch.
No.
So
is there a bunch different?
Well, come around here real quick. The main thing is you're used to having that second screen.
So we're all on one screen now.
Yeah. So right here is obviously the stack. If you need to get to the library, you got to click on library.
Okay.
You need to click on hotkeys. You got to click on hotkeys.
Okay.
But you can if you need to put something in, which I have everything in. They just did. So like top 5 at 5.
Hotkeys.
Yeah.
Over to Mark's page.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, if you click on something here and then click back, you can put it wherever you need, or the same thing, just like normal. Click here and
that's
go up
right. Because
there.
I'm used to putting them over on. They just go. Oh, they go up here.
You can put them. You can still put them up there. Those
Okay.
channels still exist.
Got
It's
it.
just you got to remember that these are the buttons you have to use to switch.
Yeah.
Between the screens.
Okay. All right. Got it. And that's the only difference.
Yeah, that's the only difference. It's a pain though when you're used to having that other screen.
Yeah.
I also have you another cool edit session ready to go to record for, and I'll go ahead and hit record when I about. Probably won't be as big of a deal for you because you don't do it enough. But when you're using the same thing every day and you're so used to something being there and it's not, it's really, especially when you get in a place where you need something really quick. You've seen with me in case you need a breaking news or something. That's why I'm hesitating because I have to get to that other screen.
Right.
Like a decade ago, I think it was, we used to have like an outboard audio thing where you could just push a button and it would have all the. I love those things because you have so many things preset, boom, and just hit them. And now they've all gone to up there for like with the Stinger. But if you don't have one, are those frowns, are those like dislikes?
They're angry faces.
Okay.
Clemson fans being
obviously,
angry. And the thing is, you can't interpret because it could be mad at us. It could be mad at the news about Clemson. They could be reacting to anything.
I'd like to believe it's directed at me just because it makes me happy.
He could just randomly says, "We can't fight robots." You can. Every robot movie ever is about fighting robots.
There were so many AI takeover stories Saturday. I just couldn't do it. It's like this tirade would last for an entire hour, which I could do because it's my show, but I just couldn't. I couldn't handle it. Because not only did you have that creepy one we saw, and then there's the one where you can put your face on it, and it's like. Once they make a horror movie that actually makes sense, then I really will be worried. He is my coworker. All right, we're going to have time for just one.
Yep, that's fine.
All right, we got time for just one, and it's going to be Iron Fist.
That's the one you picked.
Yes,
huh?
there's a
That's
reason
the
why.
one you picked.
There's a reason why, because it leads into something we were talking about earlier.
I have not seen why it's trending, and since we're running out of time, I'm just gonna let you jump into it.
Iron Fist is trending.
No. He said when and if he returns.
Yeah, well, we know he's returning. Charlie Cox is coming back. He's going to be in No Way Home.
Know that?
It's his lawyer. Yes.
Oh, that's right. No, so Daredevil's not.
Yeah, well, if you are the alter ego of someone, chances are you are back.
I'm fine. I liked Iron Fist.
So did I.
It was a nice little.
Thank you. I'm so
which was great. I loved Daredevil. It might have been my favorite product so far, but I needed a bit of levity. The Defenders was good too.
Yeah, I love Defenders.
Yeah.
I've watched that multiple times.
All right, Mark, Ryan, and me are up next for Offsides for Lonzo, who's out. Thank you guys so much for listening. Great show today. We're doing it again tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Later, brother.
ESPN Upstate, WYRD Greenville, WORD Spartanburg, WFB